I mean, do you have any particular God belief, or is just it's
No,
just a
right?
generic God?
Yeah, it's just the God Himself, spiritually, whatever. I'm just not into making anybody believe in what I believe in.
All right, cool. All right, not a problem. Hey, I appreciate you coming up more.
Thank you.
Hey, Rodney, how's it going?
Hello, thank you so much for having me. Volcy.
Yeah, I actually didn't read your comment all the way. I thought you were talking about the Christian God, but you were talking about the Greek and Roman pantheon.
Well, specifically the Greek, and I'm not saying that this is what I believe.
No, I get it.
Yeah. But what I appreciate about it is, one, it included goddesses.
Mm-hmm.
So it had the female and male divine, right? Two, they weren't all loving.
They were not.
And anybody can believe in what they want to believe in, but I think believing in an all-loving God in a world which, in order to survive and to feed your children, a plant or an animal must be unalived, doesn't seem very all-loving to me. And I can say one last thing about it, but go ahead if you want to say something.
No, I was gonna say that's actually a good point. Yeah, like the suffering of creatures doesn't seem necessary to me, right? So it's like I do get that point of like it doesn't seem very loving to create a universe where people or non-human animals are gonna be suffering needlessly and stuff like that. So yeah, I do get that.
And the final thing I would say about Greek mythology is that even though Zeus was the head of the gods, there was an entity or a set of entities that Zeus was afraid of, and that was fate.
The fates, yep.
Yeah. So, like, I mean, look, I'm not saying Donald Trump isn't afraid of anything, but he sure acts like he isn't, and so how beautiful is it to believe in a higher power that also believes in a higher power?
It's actually pretty amazing, yeah.
Yeah. So thank you so much. That's all I would say at this point.
Hey, not a problem, Ronnie. Hey, I appreciate you being here.
Thank you, sir. Take care.
Take care. All right, guys. I'm trying to bring up Goodwin. Goodwin, I'm trying to bring you up. Not sure what's going on there. Maybe it could be your connection, but until then, let's see who else I have up. Did I say, baby? All right, we're gonna bring up Roy, and Jackson. Let's see if Roy is gonna come up, and Jackson as well.
Hello.
Hey, how's it going? Boss Nika, give me a second. I'm waiting for someone else to come up. Not sure what's going on there.
Okay. So I need to ask a question. What's your religion?
Say that again.
What's your religion is, or there's no religion?
What is my religion? I don't have one.
Do you have any religion?
No, I don't have one.
Okay. So then I need to ask a question.
Sure.
I need to ask a multiple question.
Okay, sure.
And I'm sorry if my English is bad. It's not my first language.
All good.
Do you believe in physics?
Yeah. Well, and that's not really a belief, right? Physics happens.
Yeah, the physics have wait, give me a second.
Sure.
Physics have too much class.
Physics has too much class? What do you mean by that?
Like thermodynamics and quantum physics.
Yeah. There's astrophysics, quantum physics, cosmology.
The thermodynamics physics says the energy cannot appear from nothing.
Well, energy cannot be created or destroyed.
No, it's just rule 1 of thermodynamics 1.
Okay, yeah, I think that's the first rule. Yeah, that's the first like conservation of energy, right? First law. Yeah, sure. Like what about it though?
And cannot came from nothing and can turn nothing.
Yeah, sure. I don't think things came from nothing. I think there always was something.
So I need to ask how the first energy came.
How the first energy came? I'm not sure what you mean by that.
Huh?
I'm not sure what you mean by that. What do you mean? How did the first energy come? Energy probably always was. Like, it's probably always a thing.
Can we know about that? Can we know about that?
I don't think there is a way to know about that, but I'm just kind of postulating, right? So like,
we cannot know anything, but
right, we can't know everything. I'm trying to get to what you're trying to ask me here, because I don't doubt physics. I don't doubt the law of the conservation of energy, but what about it though?
I will explain. Just let me a second. If there was no energy, because it's probably like that, and then we have to put God isn't there. Is the question.
All right. Jackson, how's it going, Jackson? Are you at least 18? And do you think you give me a reason to believe in a God?
Can we give a quick prayer that LeBron doesn't retire?
LeBron doesn't retire. Oh man, that's a funny one. But I mean, his son is in the league now, so is he waiting for a second son to get in the league or what?
Nah, if he retires, we gotta like retire 23 and like maybe retire even the league at this point. Like, I don't even know. I mean,
the thing is, yeah, NBA has gotten pretty boring. Yeah, I mean, I've been missing a whole bunch of games. Are we even in the playoffs right now? I'm not even sure if it's a playoff season. Yeah, it's boring, bro. But yeah, it's just one of those things. Give me a second. Hey, Goodwin, I invited you back up. Go ahead and come back up whenever you have time. But yeah, Jackson. So do you think you give me a reason to believe in a God?
I mean, hey man, just give it a chance, you know? Like, there's got to be a reason. Like, if you're making a whole live stream about this, you got to be like kind of wondering about God, you know?
I mean, yeah, the reason why I do these is typically for two reasons. Number one, it's a hobby of mine. I like to talk to people. But the other second thing I do it for is because there are people who look like me, who are in my position, but are afraid to speak their mind. So I know that I can speak it for them, and we need to normalize this discussion of people who look like me to actually speak about the situation, because it does affect our daily lives.
How does that affect your life? Just like when?
Well, if you look at politics right now, Christian nationalism is a huge thing. The president of the United States just signed an executive order where anything deemed anti-Christian is now kind of like terroristic, right? So that kind of seems crazy. So even me doing this live stream, they can call me a terrorist. That's pretty terrifying for them to do, because of how vague he writes his executive orders, right? So that's number one. We need to push back against this. That's how it affects us. Also, it didn't happen to me, but you'll hear like from other people who are non-believers, that their entire family or friends turned their back on them because they didn't believe anymore. Yeah, I mean, so because of that, we need to talk about this more, and that's how it affects us.
Have you ever given it a shot? You know, like,
I grew up Christian.
Sorry, what'd you say?
I grew up Christian.
So what changed? What made you not want to be a Christian anymore?
I had no reason to believe that is true. I mean, this took over 10 years for it to happen, but really, I had no idea what. I had no clue. I said no clue. I had no reason to believe that is true, and I also didn't need it for my life, basically, to have morals, purpose, drive, anything like that. I didn't need it. So because I didn't need it, and there was no reason to believe that is true, I just didn't believe it anymore.
You didn't like feel anything when you were a Christian, or like nothing?
Of course I did. But the thing is, what I learned is that those feelings can be replicated, right? Like the same feelings that you'll get at church, you'll get it at a Journey concert or seeing Michael Jackson. You know what I'm saying? So you can get those type of feelings everywhere, basically. Like people used to fall out at Michael Jackson concerts. People still fall out at Beyonce concerts. You know what I mean? So like these type of feelings can always be replicated.
I mean, not really. I mean, not this kind. I mean, like, if you truly give your life to Christ, bro, I mean, it just changes. Like, that's just something you'll have to experience. And I mean, I'm not honestly here to debate you because, like, if you don't want to be a Christian, I mean, that's completely fine. But I just say, just give it a chance. Maybe go to church. Maybe go to church with one of your buddies. Like,
I mean, I grew up in church, so
I know. I'm just saying that, like, I want to see you in heaven one day, you know?
I mean, you can show me a heaven exists. Yeah, sure. Like I wouldn't mind, but I don't think, you know, living for trillions of years, you know, doing whatever, doing nothing. It's not going to be, I mean, what are we going to be doing for all that time? Like, are we just worshiping the big guy?
I don't know. I mean, probably something like that. We'll probably have, I mean, I think there'll be jobs. I think you'll have a role.
Jobs? Like,
yeah.
Oh, damn, y'all. So we're going to work all our lives here.
Not like jobs.
Then die and go to heaven and have to work again. My goodness.
I think you'll have a role.
Like my angel wings are going to be falling down every time I come back from work and I have to watch after my angel kids. Like, it's sweet.
No, but like you'll have a role in heaven.
Like, why? Why do we have jobs? Why I can't just explore the universe? I worked for 60 years only to die and have to work again. Oh my goodness, that seems kind of awful. I don't know, bro.
Hey man, I don't know, just give it a shot, dude. I mean, there's no reason, just try. Like, I don't know.
I mean, give me a second. Jay, go ahead and come on up. Let's go ahead and talk about it. But when it comes to that, right, it's like I've spent at least 20 some odd years of my life being Christian. You know what I mean? So it's like when you say give it a shot, and I already did. I grew up in it. I did the baptism. I did all that. You know what I'm saying? So it doesn't seem that I would need to. I would say that we should get like better evidence to believe in something that something is true. Well, won't you agree?
I mean, I think there's pretty decent evidence. I mean, there is some stuff that I've been like, it's a little bit out there, but like, I'd say most of the evidence is like, it's pretty clear.
Okay, well, what is that?
Okay, like, I mean, I think Paul's house, you can find it. I believe you can.
Look, no, I don't have any issue with Paul being a guy. Like, sure, he was a real guy, but that doesn't mean that what he wrote down about this Jesus character is necessarily true, right?
I mean, I would just say there's so many like stuff that line up, you know?
Yeah, sure. Like what?
Like, okay, like what's that one like mountain? I don't know, dude. I'm not very educated.
Like Mount Ararat?
Like, yeah, maybe. I think so.
I talking about the claim that they found like Noah's Ark.
Yeah.
That was fake. They never found it.
Are you joking?
No, I'm not. That was fake. Yeah, Ron Wyatt is a liar. Even like Answers in Genesis have said that Ron Wyatt is lying. He never found he never found Noah's Ark or the Ark of the Covenant. He never found any of that. He's a liar. Other Christian organizations have called him out for this.
Wait, word?
Talking about Ron Wyatt. The claim that you're talking about is that they found Noah's Ark on top of a mountain. They never actually found that. Ron Wyatt was lying. He also said he found the Ark of the Covenant. He's lying about that too. Ron Wyatt is a liar. Other Christians have said that he's lying. He's not telling the truth. Even if you don't go off of them, like the people from that area, I think it's like the University of Turkey or something like that. They've even said that no, this is not Noah's Ark. They've said that like it can't be everybody's against him, right? Like he's lying.
Okay. I mean, I'll look into that, but like, I'd say like another thing is like, there's so many books of the Bible, and like, what are the odds these all match up from different people and they're all the same?
When you say these all match up, what does that mean?
Like they all create a story.
What do you mean they all create a story? What is they? What are you talking about?
Like all these people who wrote the Bible. Like, you know how, like, I learned this, like, you know how, like, if there's a crime scene, they would like separate all the witnesses to get their story. It's kind of like that.
Right, but that's not what the Bible is. These tell different stories in different times for different audiences.
Yeah, and they all line up.
No, they don't.
How? Where?
Okay, we can go through some contradictions if you want.
Okay.
All right, cool. One of my favorite ones is about King Josiah. Let me bring this up. All right, so right here we got the story of King Josiah. It's told in two places. The first one is told in Kings and 2 Kings, and then it's told again in 2 Chronicles, because Chronicles is just rewriting the history of Israel, right? So in 2 Kings 23 to 20, in 2 Kings 23 to 30, it says, in his days, Pharaoh Necho, king of Egypt, went up to the king of Assyria to the river Euphrates. King Josiah went to meet with him, but when Pharaoh Necho met him at Megiddo, he killed him. His servants carried him dead in a chariot from Megiddo, brought him to Jerusalem, and buried him in his own tomb. The people of the land took Jehoahaz, son of Josiah, anointed him, and made him king in place of his father. So in 2 Kings, Josiah dies in Megiddo. Now the same story is told in 2 Chronicles, when they're telling the story again about the history of Israel. It says here, the archers shot King Josiah, and the king said to his servants, take me away, for I am badly wounded. So his servants took him out of the chariot, carried him in the second chariot, and brought him to Jerusalem. There he died, and he was buried in the tomb of his ancestors. All Judah and Jerusalem mourned for Josiah. So we have 2 issues here. Number one, in the first story, it says the Pharaoh of Egypt is the one who shot King Josiah. And in the second one, it says that the archers shot King Josiah, not the Pharaoh. It also puts his death in 2 different places. In 2 Kings, he dies in Megiddo, and in 2 Chronicles, he dies in Jerusalem. Which one of those is correct?
What did you say the verse was?
2 Kings 23 to 30.
Okay. I'm just going to check, just because, like, I mean, that is... You said 22?
Yeah, 2 Kings 23 to 30. 2 Kings 23, verse 29 to 30. I mean, did you want me to put it on the screen or something?
I mean, yeah. I mean, you can. I mean, that is...
Yeah, if you could. I'm looking into it too, but I can't switch apps. Can you put it on the screen?
All right, give me 1 second, guys. I'm going to go ahead and share this window. 1 moment. Give me 1 moment. I'm bringing it up right now. Okay. That's not it. That's not it. That's not it. All right. Hold on, y'all. I know exactly what to do. All right, give me a second. All right, so that's me there. Y'all gonna see what I bring up, and there it is. I'm not sure if y'all can read that or not.
I cannot. I have it on my Bible right now, though. So
You have it on your Bible app now?
I'm actually on the real Bible.
All right, cool. All right, cool. But yeah, so oh yeah, it is too small. Sorry about that, guys. I'm gonna go ahead and let me just bring it up on the.
And then what you say the other verse was?
The other one is 2 Chronicles.
Okay.
All right. Here's the thing. We don't gotta go through all that. I literally read it. So what are we trying to find out here?
I'm just fact checking it because that is. I mean, it's not.
Give me a second, man.
I think the one of the ones is like talking about from the perspective from the enemies, right? I would say that the enemies that struck them down at Megiddo, like from that point of view, yes, like because that's where they initially killed him, right? Or struck him down. It was at Megiddo. However, when you look at the second verse, you can just say maybe he died in Jerusalem.
Here it is. It's on the screen. Can you see it now?
Yep.
All right, cool. So you can read it there, and then you can read this the second one. See, I'm not making this up, guys.
Yeah.
So it's contradictory information. Those two things contradict each other. So did he die in Jerusalem or did he die in Megiddo?
I would say that the fuller picture shows that he died at Jerusalem, but I wouldn't say it's contradictory. I would just say that it's explaining that the enemies of that they were at war.
It's not your turn yet. It's Jackson's turn to speak. Actually, Jackson, you got about 5 seconds, and then we got to move on. Did you want to add anything else?
Nah, man. God bless, man.
Not a problem. All right, Jonathan, I'm sorry to put you on mute, but I am going to get to you in a second. But I have a person over on my StreamYard. Give me 1 second, y'all. All right. Name is Kazabon. Is that correct, Kazabon?
Yes, that's correct. Can everyone hear me?
Yeah, we can all hear you. All right, Kazabon. Are you at least 18? And did you disagree with what I have on the board?
Yes, I am at least 18. From when you say what you have on the board, could you just reiterate it one more time?
On the board, I have, can you give me a good reason to believe in a God?
Do you want to believe in a God or do you want to believe in the true and living God?
What does that mean?
Well, there's a God is, I could make a statue for you and say that this is a God. I can show you several miracles that the statue can indeed perform. And I could say that this is the God that I worship and it's a God. Or I can lead you to the true and living God.
All right, but when you say true and living God, can you actually prove that to be the case?
Where do we find information about the true and living God?
I don't know. You got to tell me. You're the one who believes it.
Oh, okay. Well, we can find all that information contained within the scriptures.
What scriptures? The Bible?
Yeah.
Why should we accept that as true?
Why should we not accept it as true is actually the question.
Because it's simply making a claim. That doesn't mean that because it says something is true. If I were to tell you that I have $10 billion in Trinidad, quit your job and follow me there, are you going to quit your job and follow me to Trinidad because I told you so?
If I believe you, yes, I will quit my job in Trinidad and come
but
get some of that money.
You realize, Kaz, that makes you extremely gullible, and that's how people get tricked all the time.
I would say no, it does not make me gullible. All right.
How does it not make you gullible, Kaz? Can I just not be lying to you?
All right. Yes, you can.
Okay,
right?
great.
However,
so saying that if I believe you, I'll quit my job and follow you. That makes you gullible because I'll just be lying to you.
No, it doesn't make me gullible, bro.
So, Kaz, if you believe anything somebody tells you, that makes you gullible. That's the definition, bro.
All right. So no.
Yes.
That would make me gullible. If I
the
believe
definition of gullible, Kaz.
Everything that anyone tells me, that is indeed me being gullible. But you're here on live television, you're making a claim, your reputation is at stake, and there is the internet. So I could always say, hey, listen, this guy, he does not have $1 million. He is broke. And now I'm back in Trinidad, and this is my story about it.
Hey, Kaz, you know what people will tell you? They will tell you, why would you believe someone who just told you something? Everybody will ask you that question. Everybody will ask you, why did you just believe him?
Because I decided to trust what you were saying is true.
Which
And
makes you
then-
gullible.
No, it does not.
That's the definition,
no,
bro.
it does
Kaz, no, Kaz, we
No, it does
Kaz, we gotta go down this line. What is the evidence that what this Bible says is true? That's what I'm trying to get you at, bro. It makes you gullible to just believe something anybody says.
All right. Okay. Do we live on Earth? Do we live on Earth?
Evidence, bro. What's the evidence?
Yes. Do we live on Earth?
That's not evidence,
there
bro. I'm
evidence?
asking you for evidence.
Is there evidence that we live on Earth, on our planet Earth? Is there evidence for that?
Yes.
Right.
So
The
stop.
claim that the Bible is making is that in the beginning God created the heaven and the earth.
That doesn't mean he actually did it.
It doesn't mean that, but until the evidence appears, because this claim,
The evidence
burden of
has already
proof
appeared
is
that
on-
that's wrong. The evidence already appeared that that's wrong. We know that stellar. We know about planetary formation, and we know about stellar formation. We can actually look into telescopes and see planets forming around other accretion disks. So we know what the Bible is saying is
Right.
incorrect,
How is that incorrect?
because the Bible simply says in the beginning he created the heavens and the earth, and they put the creation of the sun before the earth. I mean, the creation of the sun after the earth, which is incorrect.
Right.
The sun is older
Which
than
is-
the earth. You can't have night and day without a sun and the moon. So it describes the moon as a light, which is not, it's a rock. And it says that the sun was created after the earth, which it wasn't. So all those things are wrong.
Okay, so you're going by the evidence that someone else has provided for you.
No, I'm going off of
Did you do
scientific
these
evidence. I'm going off
experiments
of physics. I'm going off of cosmology. I'm going off of astrophysics, stellar formation. These are what we're going off of.
Right.
Hold on, Kaz, let me ask you a question. Do you have any do you have any expertise in stellar formation, astrophysics, cosmology, anything like that?
Expertise? No.
Exactly.
Just basic understanding.
And I don't either. So if neither of us have any expertise on this, but the people who do have the expertise says that this is what the evidence shows, how can then you say it's wrong?
I'm not saying that is wrong.
Okay, cool. So if stellar formation is correct, the Bible is wrong.
That's incorrect.
Okay. The Bible says that the sun was created after the earth. According to stellar formation, that didn't happen. That's not possible. So which one is correct?
They can both be correct.
How can they both be correct when one says one was made on at this time and the other one says it's made at a completely different time? They can't both be correct. The sun can't exist before and after the earth. That makes no sense.
The sun as it pertains to this earth can indeed exist after its creation, right? And then the rest of the heavens that are now being formed that we
Yes.
can see,
Guys,
right?
listen to me a second. Listen to what I'm saying. My older
I'm
sister,
listening.
my older sister can't be both born before me and be born after me. That can't
That's
be
true.
the case,
That's a
right?
sister.
So the Bible says that the sun came into existence after the earth. Stellar formation doesn't say that. So they can't both be right.
Does stellar formation account for the creation of the earth that we are currently on?
Yes.
So you're saying that we could measure the earth before it was created?
No, that's not what I said.
Exactly. Exactly. That's what you're saying.
No, it's not. I'm talking about ages, bro. The earth, the earth is younger than the sun. The sun can't
That's
be both.
according-
The sun
that's
can't be
according
both.
to
The
looking
sun,
at
the
other
sun,
star
the sun,
systems.
the sun can't be
That's
both.
looking at
The
other star
sun can't
systems
be both
and
older
trying to
than
relate it.
the sun can't be both older than the earth and
I am
younger than the
I'm
earth.
in agreement.
That's not
I'm in
possible.
agreement with
Okay,
you. I am in
so
agreement with you.
According to stellar formation and cosmology, the sun is older than the earth. According to Genesis, the sun is younger than the earth. They can't both be right, bro. One of them is wrong.
Because the stellar formation does not record the beginnings of the earth that we are currently
Yes, it
on.
does.
No, it does not. We cannot
It's called
measure
cosmology,
something.
dude. Yes, it does. It does
We
account for the
cannot
formation of the
measure
earth.
We cannot measure the weight of the earth that we are on.
That's not the
We
point.
cannot measure.
Kaz, yes, we
That is
can.
the point.
Number one, we can
That is
measure
the
the
point.
the weight of the earth that we're on right now. It's called math. But the second thing is that that I would say is that they do account for the earth's formation, and we know that the earth is younger than the sun. The Bible doesn't say that.
We can. I agree with you that we can attribute what we see of younger galaxies being formed that it is like that. But the only reason that we can see those galaxies forming is because of our vantage point on the Earth. It's as simple as that.
Yeah. What are you saying?
I'm saying that just because there is a phenomenon called stellar formation does not mean it applies to the Earth that we are currently on.
How do you prove that to be true? What the hell are you talking about? Are you saying that physics doesn't apply to Earth? Are you kidding me right now?
I am not saying that. I'm not saying that.
All right, stellar formation is all about physics. So if you're saying that stellar formation doesn't apply to the Earth, hold on, Kaz. Stellar formation, if you're saying that stellar formation does not apply to Earth, you're literally saying that physics doesn't apply to Earth. That's stupid. What are you saying, bro?
If that's what you hear me saying, right, I will repeat myself.
Kaz, you literally said stellar formation does not apply to the Earth. Stellar formation is about physics. So if you're saying that stellar formation doesn't apply to the Earth, you're saying physics doesn't apply to the Earth. That's stupid.
No, I'm not, because stellar formation is one part of physics, and that part of physics that we can observe and make calculations for is dependent on this Earth being already formed. So the Earth that we are on, all of these suns that are forming right now, the Earth is indeed older than those.
All right. We're gonna go ahead and move on. Yeah, I can't take this. I can't do this anymore. I just cannot. All right. Law for Life. Is that your name?
Yeah, it's Low Life. How you doing, brother?
I'm all right. Low. You said Low Life?
Yeah.
I'm not sure why. I don't want to call you Low Life, but okay. All right, Life. We can go ahead and keep talking. Are you at least 18? And do you think you give me a reason to believe in a God?
Yeah, I'm 24 and I am a Christian. Yeah, I mean, I think looking all around you, I don't know how you would say nothing came from, I mean, everything you see around you came from nothing.
I don't say that.
I mean, so where did it all start then? And to go back to what the last guy was saying, I mean, the first day God said, "Let there be light." So there's your light source, buddy. Like, I don't know where the confusion really is.
We know. I know he said, "Let there be light," but one of the verses also say that the sun was formed after the earth. That's not true. Period. So the Bible is wrong. So the second thing that I would say what your question is, where did everything come from? Depends on what you mean. Are you talking about the earth? You're talking about the galaxy? You're talking about existence in of itself? Because existence in of itself, we don't know. But we do know that the universe expanded from a hot dense state or the singularity. And when it comes to something like the singularity or hot dense state, that just means that this is a part of our universe that we simply do not understand yet. Essentially, our understanding of physics and space time it breaks down at that point where we is at a point where we don't know what we're talking about. You see what I'm saying? The singularity. So that's where everything expanded from, and that's essentially where it all came from. If you need like more information on that, you should probably talk to a physicist or an astrophysicist. I can only give you the bare overall. But since I'm assuming that you're also not an expert in quantum mechanics and particle physics and astrophysics, then there's no way none of us can talk about this in depth. You know what I mean? So at this point, we're both at a standstill.
Can you tell me what a cat is?
Yeah, a cat is a feline.
Are you a cat?
No, I'm Homo sapien.
Okay, so then you're kind of contradicting yourself. I mean,
no,
you don't have to be an astroscientist to talk about astro.
That's not what I said. That's not what I said.
That's kind of exactly what you said.
No, it's not. I said none of us can talk.
It's okay. No, we can completely dodge
life. That's not what I said. I'm not gonna sit here and lie about what I said. What I did say is that neither of us can talk about it in depth because we don't have any expertise on it. We're gonna hit a wall at a certain point. That's what I said. I didn't say we can't talk about it.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
All right, fine. What do you want to talk about? Because we're gonna get to the point where neither of us are gonna know what we're talking about. So what do you want to talk about?
We can go back to the initial statement where, I mean, on the first day, the expression "let there be light" was used. I mean, that was a meaning sense of a light or a light source, right? But in the same sense, the sun and moon and stars were also included in the heavens.
The moon isn't a light.
In Genesis 1:1.
The moon isn't a light.
They were created on the first day.
Life. The moon is not a light.
Are you kidding me right now? You're saying the moon does not produce light?
No, it doesn't. It reflects
Okay,
light.
brother. Maybe we do disagree on that.
Hey, life. The moon. Hey, life. The moon is made of a rock. Rocks don't produce light, my friend.
Okay.
The moon reflects light. What the entire fuck are you talking about? This is what I mean, bro. The moon reflects light, bro. It doesn't produce light.
Right.
Are you gonna? You really want me to sit here and not have a conversation with you when you literally sat up here and said that rocks make light?
First of all, I didn't say rocks make light.
You just said the moon produces light. The moon is a rock. It doesn't produce light.
Yes, it does. It's literally called moonlight.
All right, you're an idiot. About? You're a moron. You're a moron. All right. Stir, how's it going, Stir? I appreciate you being up. I think you're a friendly of mine, though.
Hi, yes, I am a friendly. I just had a question. And hello.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. So I see that you're Haitian.
Mm-hmm.
And as someone who is also Haitian, I'm really curious, and I don't plan on staying up for very long, but how do you approach this subject with your family? Because I feel like Christianity is very strong in the Black community, but in Haitian community,
oh boy.
Oh my goodness.
Oh boy. Yeah, it's actually very, very hard. It's very hard because like for some reason anything that I say or try to talk about, it's going to offend someone. It's going to offend somebody. You know what I mean? Like me and my sisters have gotten into like hour-long, like 6-7 hour-long discussions about this. And always going to get to a point where if I doubt something or if I bring something up, et cetera, it becomes a yelling match. You know what I mean? And like it's at the point where at this point I don't even want to talk to y'all about it anymore because it's just one of those things where you get tired of it. You know what I mean? I just tell them that, listen, I don't believe this. You can believe whatever you want. And if you want to talk to me about it one day in a calmer fashion, we can talk about it. But not right now. I'm not going through a 6-7 hour conversation with you. I'm not doing it.
Do they treat you any differently?
They don't. No, they still love me. They still pray for me, all that good stuff, which I don't mind. You can because I know like praying is something that they do for their own comfort, and they're trying to comfort someone as much as possible. You know what I mean? So praying for them is really all they know. I don't mind that. So yeah, they still love me. I just talked to my sisters like yesterday, seeing how her finals were going, but she's in Howard. You know, my sister is studying to be a dentist. She's in Howard. My other sister, she's about to have her first baby with her husband. I mean, she lives down in Tamarack in Florida. So yeah, we also love each other. You know what I mean? The baby shower is coming up in July. I'm gonna be there. You know what I mean? So that reminds me, I got to order the car seat. So that's what I'm planning to get. I'm trying to get her a car seat. So yeah, so I'm gonna order her that. I mean, yeah. So yeah, it's all still good. It's just that I told them me not believing anymore doesn't make me a different person. Now, of course, they say it's gonna be hard for me to find a wife that makes sense. You know what I mean? Finding someone that makes sense. But I found one, and she's agnostic too. So it was difficult, the dating scene, but it wasn't as hard as they thought it would be.
That's also very interesting. May I ask is your wife Black?
Yeah, she is. She's Jamaican.
And Christianity is pretty hard there too.
Yeah, it is. It is. She told me her mom went to a Catholic school growing up. I didn't even know Jamaica had Catholics.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And are your parents still in your life? Do they know?
Yeah. They know. They're more on the line of, you know, you can't be Haitian and not be Christian. So they think I'm gonna come back to the fold one day. All that bullshit. So.
Yeah, I think that's how a lot of people are. Like, you're just lost. You're gonna come back. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, well, thank you. That's all I really had. I was curious.
Yeah, no problem, man. I appreciate you being here. I'll come back anytime. All right, guys. I have Albert on my stage. What was the name I just saw? Millie, give me one moment. I do have another guest on the stage on my YouTube. Just gonna talk to them real quick. All right, I'll be right back with you, Millie. Albert, how's it going? Are you at least 18? And do you think you give me a good reason to believe in a God? Albert. You there, Albert? All right, Albert, come back another time. All right.
Hey, yeah.
Oh, there he is.
So
there
actually,
he is. There he is.
I'm
All right.
also not religious. Hello?
Yeah, there he is. All right,
Hello?
Albert, how's it going?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yes, I was saying I'm not religious. Don't believe in any or no. But hello? No. Listen.
I'm listening.
Yeah. So what I'm trying to say is that I'm gonna ask you a question. Do you believe that you are the incarnation of God?
No.
Okay. So the thing is, I am the incarnation of God.
Oh,
right?
okay, cool.
So the thing is,
all right, y'all. So we're gonna go ahead and keep it moving. I appreciate everybody being here. Everybody, pause me real quick. I'm gonna get to y'all in a second. I just got to go ahead and give a quick shout out to everybody who's watching me over on the Deconstruction Junction. If you're watching me over on Deconstruction Junction, once again, I appreciate you. You guys are amazing. Love y'all. Thank y'all so much for being here. If you're watching me on my channel, Volcy Thoughts, thank you so much for being here over on Volcy Thoughts. You guys are amazing. Love y'all. Make sure to hit that super chat if you want me to put your comment on the screen. I'm going to go ahead and put in a goal for the super chat right now. If you're watching over from the Black Atheist Coalition, I appreciate you there as well. The link to join is right there. Yeah, you can join at tiny.cc/volcylive. If you're watching me over on the Black Atheist Coalition, once again, thank y'all so much for being here. And I do have a give goal, 10 caps. If y'all go ahead and support me, please support that give goal. Only 10 caps. Thank y'all so much. I appreciate y'all. Let's go ahead and move on to our next guest. Millie dropped, but we do have Home Slice. Home Slice, how's it going? Are you at least 18? And do you think you give me a good reason to believe in a God?
I am, and I think I do have a reason for you.
Okay, sure. What is that reason?
So by in my analysis, it seems like you only lack a belief in God in general because you think it's possible that life began on its own. So my strategy is to show you that, that's not likely. Most likely that didn't happen. And what that is the complex specified information in the cell. There's these nucleotides that when we say there's information in the cell, we're not being poetic or metaphorical. It's literal code in the DNA. And it's these nucleotides that tell the cell to self-replicate, metabolize. They create enzymes that perform these various functions. And it's just, also they have to be compartmentalized into membranes. And once you kind of get an overview of what it would actually take for life to begin on its own, I think it's laughable. It didn't happen. Plus, you have the homochirality problem. Get up a little bit.
There you are. All right. Yeah.
You're there.
So
I broke up for 1 second.
Yeah. I hear you. All right. Let me ask you. Like all of this, I'm not an origin of life researcher, right? So like I'm not sure if I can properly basically discuss any of this, but yeah, there are some gaps in our knowledge. But just because there's some gaps doesn't mean that a God is the most likely answer.
Well, here's the thing. I'm not saying this because it's dang it, I'm breaking up again.
Mm-hmm.
I broke up again. So I'm not saying it because of what we don't know. I'm saying it because of what we do know. And if it really comes down to this, if I can show you that life didn't begin on its own, or you become convinced that, yeah, this probably didn't happen, then you'll go looking for God. But as long as you think, oh, they've figured it out and they know how to make life and, they know how, then maybe you'll be like, oh, it's just not necessary. But I'm just seeing what sticks. To me, that's my thought process. If I was an atheist, I would want to know.
All right, so
did life begin on its own?
So, Home Slice, what we're asking is that when it comes to origin of life research, when it comes to all these peer-reviewed papers, are they concluding that these things that we're not sure of or we have gaps in our knowledge about, are they saying that the only answer is supernatural? Is that what's happening?
No, because this is the situation. Science, from a methodological standpoint, has to assume that life began on its own, because we can't just invoke the supernatural into our academia. That would end the search. It's like, okay, well, why does this spider make a web like this? Oh, it's God. You know, we can't.
Right. I got you.
As a rule, we have to follow it all the way. We have to follow that rule all the way. I got you, Home Slice.
But the issue is, you're saying that that life could not begin and go, and it has to be supernatural. And what evidence do we have of that? You're just saying that there's these gaps that we don't know about, therefore supernatural.
Well, no. Okay, here's what it comes down to. If life didn't begin through a natural process, then it began through a what? A supernatural process.
We don't know. But the thing is, what I'm saying, all the research shows that it was likely a natural process, and you're saying that it's not.
I know. I just explained that, though, but that's fine. It's confusing. They have to. So this is the situation. Science has to assume that life began through a natural process. So, of course, all the evidence is going to, the evidence, quote unquote, but the evidence that they're coming up with is pathetically weak. Does that make sense? So this is the situation. I keep repeating myself.
What I'm saying, Home Slice, is how do you know that?
Assume it hold on a second. They have to assume that life
I got you.
You're
repeating yourself,
but
Home Slice.
It didn't.
Hold on, Home Slice. Home Slice, hold on. You're repeating yourself. Home Slice, stop. You're repeating yourself. I already heard all this. What I'm asking you is that if you're going to say that that the process of life was necessarily supernatural, what evidence do you have that being the case?
Okay, as far as science goes, that would be a category error. Science isn't going to address that. But so what we do is say, okay, this is what science says. This is how unlikely it is for. Why do you interrupt me though?
All right, so I mean the thing is, like, I just don't want you to repeat yourself. The thing is, you're saying that you're not going to have evidence of the supernatural. However, the evidence that we have of things happening through a natural process, which are literally thousands of PAG's peer-reviewed papers, are saying that those just don't matter. It was supernatural. Like, what are we? I don't know.
What are you talking about? What papers are you talking about?
When it comes to origin of life, right? You understand that origin of life research has like a huge body of evidence, right? Like they're printing out papers like almost all the time.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. So you're just assuming that. You've already said. So what's the evidence for it? You tell me personally. Don't look it up. Mm-hmm. You tell me off the top of your head. What is the evidence for abiogenesis?
There's the most famous one, of course, the Miller-Urey, and there's been updates to that right after the Miller-Urey experiment as well.
So what did the Miller-Urey show?
Miller-Urey shows that under the conditions of early Earth, organic material can form.
Now, do you think that it's all organic molecules? Do you think organic molecules are alive?
Not yet, no. Because that's the thing about life. When there's something between life becomes non-life, that's a gap in our knowledge. Sure. Now life is probably an emergent property, right? But when it comes to that, those type of papers, I wouldn't be able to give them to you. But organic material to life, yeah, I agree with you, are two different things. We'll have to that gap of
right.
when
So
it becomes
let
organic.
Me explain something though.
It's not known yet.
Let me just throw something out there. So the Miller-Urey produced both left and right-handed monomers, and this is basically useless sludge because life primarily uses left-handed monomers, and this is called the homochirality problem. They don't know how just through an unguided process, nature, quote unquote, knew how to separate the left-handed from the right-handed, and the homochirality extends to other things. The Miller-Urey doesn't help you. This is what I'll tell you.
Right, but the thing is, like,
I'll give you not only. Hold on, I'll give you the.
So Home Slice, yeah, I get that, right? But what I'm saying is that you're going into a God the gaps thing. Just because we don't know how this happened or how life came to be or the homochirality problem doesn't mean that the supernatural is now the explanation. We just don't have an explanation for it yet.
If you came to see that, if you came to be convinced that life beginning on its own is highly unlikely, and you're like, no, I just don't believe that, then you go to God. If it either became through a natural process or a supernatural. Now, in and of itself, before you interrupt again, in and of itself, no, it doesn't prove it. But we're stacking the evidence. We're stacking the argument. This is as far as science will go. This is where the buck stops.
Right,
life didn't begin on its own.
We
turn to philosophy, history, and our personal experiences.
Home Slice, here's the problem. You haven't shown that life didn't start on its own. You haven't shown that. All you're saying is that Are you saying that the evidence that we have now doesn't explain things all the way. Yeah, of course it doesn't, because we weren't there. We have to go back and do a lot of chemicals and things like that, right? We've got to do a lot of chemistry, a lot of physics to understand it. So yeah, sure. The evidence that we have now doesn't explain all the process the entire way. Sure. That doesn't mean that gap in our knowledge is now filled with supernatural. It doesn't mean that. It just means that we have to keep researching. A lot of these things we don't know yet. I can give you a lot of these things we don't know yet, but that doesn't mean the supernatural is the answer.
Just so we're on the same page, you're agreeing with me that your atheist hinges on this abiogenesis thing being true, right?
What?
You're kind of agreeing with me on that?
What? I hear you.
Are you agreeing with? I think I've got some lag going on. So it sounds like you're almost agreeing with me, but let me make sure that your atheism hinges on abiogenesis.
No, that's
you
not
keep
what I
coming
said.
back to we haven't. Because if I could show you that if I could convince you that didn't happen, then where else are you going to go? It began through a natural process, and it became through a supernatural process.
Well, what I'm saying is that this is a God of the gaps argument, bro.
Hey, if God fills in the gaps, then there's nothing we can do about it. If God made
That's
life,
a fallacy, though, bro.
I proudly worship the God. I proudly worship the God of the gaps. If He fills in that gap,
question?
You see what I mean?
Hold on. It's not your turn yet. This is a God of the gaps, bro. That is what I'm saying. We just can't say there's a gap in our knowledge. We're not sure what this is. Therefore, God. Things don't work that way, man.
But here's the deal. I'm not arguing this based off what we don't know. I'm arguing it based on what we do know, which is the code in the DNA. When we say it's a code, we're not being poetic. It's literally a code in the DNA.
No,
we're
it's not.
It's
we're being poetic. We're putting letters and numbers onto what these proteins are doing. That's all we're doing. These proteins do things, and we're putting letters and numbers into it.
So
like there is no protein that is shaped like a D, right? That doesn't happen. Like it's there's certain proteins that do things, and we put letters and numbers onto them. The proteins themselves are not letters and numbers, are they?
That's not what that's different. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying it's actually AUGTC nucleotides arranged in a specific sequence, a code that tells the cell what to do. Now, the sheer it's astronomically absurd to think that all this came together inside of a membrane, compartmentalized in a membrane to start life.
All right, so how do you?
It's not what we don't know; it's what we do know.
All right, so you said that was impossible to happen. How do you know that? You're just saying that it was. It happened, so definitely it's possible. So what do you mean that it wasn't?
No, you're assuming. You're assuming that it happened.
You're the one that you're assuming.
Information arose.
You're the one that's assuming here, my guy. You simply said that all these things coming together, it's impossible.
Okay, look,
I'm answering your question. I'm answering your question. You're the one who said that all these things coming together, it was impossible for it to happen any other natural way. That's an assumption. You have no evidence that's true.
Let me say this. We've only observed sequences like this coming from a mind. Okay, codes like this coming from a mind.
No, we haven't. We haven't observed it. We have it. We have it in our bodies, like you just said.
Outside of a living system, it's already a living system.
Yeah. So outside of a living thing, we have to recreate these things, right? Sure.
Anyway, look. Hold on.
Oh shit!
I got a little bit of lag here. But anyway, that's all you're going to get from me. I'll throw you that bone, and I'll leave some resources down in chat. We wish you well. Thanks for having me on the show.
All right. All right, guys. I have Brandon on my stage over on the YouTube, but I'm going to get to Brandon in a second. Brandon, you're in a queue. You're going to be right after – who are you right there? You're after Wisdom. All right, so I have LeBron. I have Wisdom. Then it's going to be you, Brandon, and then I have Awoke and Looking. All right, let's talk to LeBron. LeBron, how's it going? Are you at least 18? And did you think you give you a good reason to believe in a God?
So first of all, I'm critical of both positions, either for or against. But I just wanted to discuss something that I found interesting that I've been reading these days, which is, first of all, the existence of transcendentals. Do you believe in anything metaphysical?
What do you mean?
So, for example, something metaphysical is truth itself. So absolute truths are metaphysical. They aren't found in matter. So a materialist point of view would be that nothing exists except matter.
Nothing exists except matter. Hold on. Hey, Woke, you gotta mute your mic real quick. I keep hearing things. All right, so nothing existed except matter. Well, I would say that we can't verify anything other than matter exists. That's what I would say.
So you can or you can't?
We can only verify matter. We can't verify anything else.
So that falls under materialism, basically. So you don't believe that anything metaphysical exists?
I have no evidence that it does. No, so
the problem with that arises when we talk about transcendentals, the first and the most important one is truth itself. So absolute truths, if there are no absolute truths, so we reject the idea of transcendentals. If there are no absolute truths, that statement itself must be absolutely true for there to be none.
yeah, I've heard this problem, but how does this get us to a God?
But that
wait, hold on, bro. Give me a second. I understand all this problem, right? I've heard of all this problem, et cetera, but that's not what I'm interested in. What I'm interested in is how does this lead us to a God? Because I just go with the colloquial definition of what the truth is, that which comports with reality. You know what I mean? So that's what we call the truth. Like if I told you that I'm a billionaire and in reality I don't have 9 zeros in my bank account, I'm not a billionaire, right? By definition. So that which comports to reality is what I say is the truth is. Whether we can say there's an absolute truth or the statement is there no absolute truth, an absolute truth, et cetera, uninteresting. Let's get to what we actually want to talk about. How does this get us to a God?
Yeah, it does, but I mean, sure, if you want to kick me, it is a bit long, I can't lie. It is a long argument.
You don't have to do all that. Just tell me how it gets to a God.
It absolutely does. So the existence of transcendentals, if you agree with that, if you agree of the existence of transcendentals, which the argument I just made proved. So if the transcendentals exist, then there is something, the transcendentals, outside of matter. And if there are things outside of matter, then that exist outside of it, then they must exist from a mind. And that mind is, well, the argument goes, the divine mind.
Zeus exists then?
What?
Zeus exists?
Absolutely not. Why?
No, Zeus does exist according to your argument. He's transcendental.
No, actually, I'm from Greece, by the way, and Greek mythology. None of the philosophers of that time ever made a claim that they were polytheistic. Ever made a claim that Zeus was transcendentals? They didn't believe in transcendentals. They believed off the mat. They were materialists.
Yeah. They were materialists. What I'm saying is that they were all wrong. Zeus is transcendental, so it exists.
Well, you have to prove of that. You have to prove the transcendental.
Yeah, transcendentals exist. Therefore, Zeus exists.
Again, you have to prove that Zeus is a transcendental.
Yeah, he's a transcendental because he exists outside of space and time.
And again,
see how we're having a problem here?
The problem is
if I can just define things outside of space and time, I can do the same thing for Zeus, Shango, Olodumare, the god of the Yoruba religion. We can do the same thing for those. Because according to Yoruba, according to Yoruba theology, Olodumare is outside of space and time. He's the one that created all of space and time.
That is a fallacy by itself, because just because they got something right, it doesn't. Wait a second, let me finish, please. So just because they got something right doesn't mean that their whole worldview is correct. First of all,
right?
So even if Zeus or whatever other religion, any religion, claims that transcendental exists just because it is outside of time and space, time, and matter, and there are other contradictions in the worldview, that worldview is incorrect because of the other contradictions, not because of the thing that they got correct.
So that applies to you.
Yeah, the difference is that I'm not claiming that the reason that the divine mind exists is just because I plugged it into the argument. I didn't use it as a god of the gaps. The argument goes that divine mind is the by definition, is the maximally great being. And if that maximally great being, by definition, isn't Zeus or isn't the other gods, whatever.
No, it's Olodumare. The max speed great being is Olodumare.
So
therefore, Olodumare
so you
exists.
can again.
Yoruba is the
again,
right religion.
You can look. You can put one. As I said, they can get one thing right, but have other contradictions. So that doesn't prove them right just because they got one thing right.
What's the other contradiction in Yoruba religion then?
Look, I'm educated in others, so such as Islam. I can refute Islam. I can refute Catholicism, Protestantism. I can refute those, but I don't know about that specific religion. But if there are contradictions in its worldview, just because they got one thing right doesn't prove
they
the whole
all
thing
have
right.
Contradictions.
Well, that would take. First of all, that would take us forever. But anyways, I want to know your refutation of this transcendental argument.
You can't prove this to be true. You can't prove transcendental exists.
Wait a second, but we proved in the beginning that transcendentals do exist.
How? We didn't prove that. You just said that they did.
Okay, yeah, no problem. I can say it again. So the proof that transcendentals exist, we can just go to the most fundamental one, which is absolute truths. So if absolute truths,
the thing. We don't know if absolute truth exists.
Yeah, let me finish because you'll understand why.
Truth is just a concept
this.
that we came up with to like a label that we came up with to things that comport to reality. That's all truth is. You're making making truth a thing onto itself. How and there's no evidence of that either. You're making truth an abstract concept that we came up with in order to explain what comports to reality as a thing onto itself. You have to prove that it's a thing onto itself and not an abstract that we made.
Sure. So I'll give you the initial argument and then the other against the thing that you just said. So the initial argument for the existence of absolute truths and by definition transcendentals was that the absolute truth, so the statement itself, there are no absolute truths, must be absolutely true itself for there not to be any. So it is a circle, it's something illogical. It's like a square triangle. Anyways, so that was the initial argument. Now your counter argument to that was that that absolute truth does not exist because it is something of our mind. It is something that we conceptualized. But the problem with that arises and is that we just proved that it does exist. And if it does exist, if the contradiction within your counter argument comes from, well, if there are no minds, to conceptualize the concept of absolute truths, then it doesn't exist. But it not existing is illogical, as we stated in the first argument, the initial argument. So that is why your counter argument is illogical.
This really didn't. I don't think this. I'm not sure this addressed anything that I even said. All I said was that the word truth is a label that we put to that. Wait, hold on. All I said was that truth is a label, right? You're making it a thing onto itself. And when I'm asking you, how is it a thing onto itself? You went to the philosophical argument of the statement, there is no absolute truth, has to be an absolute truth. That doesn't mean that truth in of itself is a thing onto itself. It's still just a label that we put to comport to reality. That's all it is.
And I have a counter argument to that, and I'll explain it again. So the problem with your statement that if it's not a thing in and of itself, if it's not a thing, then it doesn't exist. It cannot be. If you're saying that it is immaterial, of course, I agree with that. I just said it from the beginning. It's a transcendental. It's not found in matter. So if you go on and say that it only exists in the mind as a concept, if there were no minds there, and it wouldn't exist because there would be no minds for it to conceptualize.
The label of truth one exists.
Yeah, but the problem with that comes from the initial argument that we already stated, that since it must exist, it can't be only derived from the minds.
That's
because
the
if
problem.
there were no minds, LeBron, hold on,
wait,
stop. Because
that's the
I
problem.
understand your position.
You just said something which is the entire problem. You said it must exist, and you're not showing how. You're not showing how true. You're not saying how.
I'll repeat it.
You're not showing how truth is a thing outside of us making the label, outside of human minds putting a label onto reality. Where does truth exist?
Again, the initial. Did you understand the initial argument that I made? So
I understand the initial argument you made, but you're simply saying that truth must exist because reasons. What I'm saying is that without us putting the label onto reality, a description of reality. That's all truth is, a description of reality. Without us putting that description on it, where does it exist at that point?
Again, that's what the initial argument, that's what it was about. You know, if it does exist or it does not exist. So the initial argument, I don't know if you remember it, but if you want me, I can repeat it. Do you remember?
What I want to know is how, without human minds, without us putting a label on a description of reality, where does the description exist? Do descriptions exist outside of us, or description exists because we make it exist? Like I put that these are glasses. That's the description for it, right? Without humans, glasses wouldn't exist. So like what I'm saying is that the description,
yeah, understand
the actual
your
label.
argument. Yeah. So the reason that they are not just concepts and they are not bound by our mind and they aren't, bound by the conceptualization, so the existence of minds, the problem with that comes from the opposite. So let's say if minds didn't exist, to conceptualize that concept of absolute truth, then it wouldn't exist. So, and the problem with that arises from the initial statement that we already, I don't know if you agreed. If you don't, we have to go back to that. But if you do agree, then, and you understood that argument, then it must exist. So if it does exist, it's unbound. It's not bound to the mind, because if it does, then it could not exist. But the possibility of it not existing is, again, illogical. It's an impossibility.
But again, you're simply asserting things. You're not showing.
Sure. We can go back to the initial argument.
LeBron. Again, you did the same thing. You just asserted that it must exist. That's all you did. What I'm asking you is,
I can give you the argument
outside
again.
of humans, how does truth exist without us making the description about reality?
Since you didn't get the first argument, we'll go back to that, because that's what you asked, right? How do I know that they must exist?
Right.
So, how do we know that absolute truth exists? Is because if it doesn't exist, that statement itself must be absolutely true. If it is absolutely true, it is in contradiction with the statement itself. It's a circle. It's illogical. So since absolute truth must exist, if we go back down to the counter argument that you made, that absolute truth is it's just a concept. It's bound by our minds. If our minds didn't exist, it wouldn't exist. That's the problem. That's where the problem arises.
Right.
If
I understand
our minds didn't exist.
I got you.
Yeah,
I understand that the statement.
Let me finish, man. Let me finish. Please. So if our minds didn't exist, exactly, that's where the problem arises. If our minds didn't exist, and thus by your counter argument, basing it on that, then absolute truth wouldn't exist. But the problem with that is that it is illogical. It's an impossibility. It's not existing. Thus, the absolute truths are not bound by our mind, but it is unbound by our mind. It's not just a concept. It's not made up.
All right. So like what I'm trying to say is that the statement, there is no absolute truth, is basically the same statement as it's north of the North Pole, right? Because truth is simply just a description of our reality. That's all it really is. That which comports to reality, we label it as a truth. That which doesn't, we label it as a lie or something that is wrong, or et cetera, right? That's all it is just a label. Yeah, I mean, so when you say that the term absolute truth is contradictory in of itself, yeah, because just like the statement, if I were to say the statement I just gave you is a lie, is that statement a lie or is it the truth? Because if I'm telling you the truth about that statement, then it has to be a lie. It's self-refuting. It's a circle. Again,
that's my point. Yeah,
that's exactly. So that's what that's what the thing. There is no absolute truth. That's where we're running into issues at. That's why it seems contradictory. That's all it really is. But truth is just a label that we put onto reality, bro. When I'm asking you, how do we show that it's a thing onto itself? You're going back to the statement.
Yeah, because the initial argument was trying to prove if there are absolute truths, do they exist? So but again, you said it yourself actually perfectly. So because it is a circle and it is illogical for absolute truths to not exist, then by impossibility of the contrary, they must exist. So going down from that, to answer your question.
The problem is, LeBron, is that truth, like I said, is the label that we put onto reality.
I understand. That's what I'm going to address right now.
Cool,
don't worry.
So the only thing that we can say is a reality absolutely exists, but reality itself is not a transcendental.
If a reality itself, again, we're trying to prove that do transcendentals exist or do they not? So going back to your argument, trying to address that, you said that they don't, it's a concept, right? It's bound by our minds, right? How do we know that it exists outside of our mind?
What I said is that truth is a description of reality. Truth is just a description of reality. It's our label. Without us, the label doesn't exist. Does reality still exist without our label? Yes. But reality is not a transcendental.
If reality is not a transcendental, then again you're going back to the materialist point of view. And the materialist point of view, that's what we are discussing. Are there transcendentals or are there not? So we have to go back to what we were saying about transcendentals.
LeBron, we out of time. We got to move on.
Yeah, okay, man. Have a great one.
You too. We'll be back next time. All right. We're gonna move on to. All right. I see Wisdom here. Wisdom, let me talk to Brandon real quick. He was before you, and then we'll go ahead and get it started. Brandon, can you hear us?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. All right. Everybody can hear Brandon, right? Drop a 1 in the comments if you can hear Brandon. Please. Give me 1 second, Brandon. Okay, cool. Everybody can hear Brandon. All right, Brandon, everybody can hear you now. Thank you so much for joining me. Are you at least 18? And do you think you give me a reason to believe in a God?
Yeah, I'm 21. And so similar to you, I'm kind of skeptical as far as at least the religion aspect goes, as far as the transcribed books. But also, I've wanted to ask, do you think that you have a counter argument that could denounce the creation or the existence of God as a whole? That's what I want to know.
No, because I'm not a person that says God doesn't exist, at least in the concept of a being that exists outside of space and time. The only thing I would say about that is that if you're going to say that there's some sort of being outside of space and time, you're basically saying they're outside of reality, which means that you're saying that it's not real. But when it comes to like ancient concepts of gods, we can definitely say those don't exist. And the deist version of God, we can't say that one doesn't exist at all. We can't refute it. But I think
I meant mainly like sticking to the Torah, Bible, or Islam, like in those three categories, because I also have like, because my thing is they've been translated hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times. Like the Prophet Muhammad wrote the scriptures 500 years after the fact. So I've also had like been skeptical of the historical accuracy, but I've always told like, because I can't tell if you're a hardcore atheist or you denounce religion specifically, but acknowledge the existence of a possible being above ourselves. That's where I was trying to make that connection.
Yeah, no, I don't acknowledge any being a possibility of any type of being, because I don't see the evidence for one being the case. I'm what you would call I'm not a strong atheist. I don't say a God absolutely doesn't exist. I'm more of an agnostic atheist. If you were to tell me does a God exist, I will tell you I don't know. And if you ask me if I believe in one, I'll tell you no. Like I don't believe in one, but I don't make a claim that it's fictional.
Got you. But if my thing is, if you play this follow the thread game and you look to any atheist and you ask them to come up with at least some kind of ideology that's sound that could prove the existence of there being no God, they can't really do it. So my whole thing with atheists is, yes, you could say, oh, there's no substantial scientific proof to believe in a God, but you have no scientific substantial proof to believe in the existence that there is no God. And if you go back to something like a singular, to them, it makes more sense that a singular expanded into this universe, and we luckily didn't get so close to Venus that we start burning or something crazy like that. But at the same time, God is not real. So then when I counter that, you know what they meet me with? They say, oh, well, it's outside of our understanding. I think I just heard you say that, but that's the same rhetoric that Christians, Muslims, and people who follow Judeo-Christian beliefs, they all say the same thing, that God is outside of our understanding. Therefore, we're not going to be able to have all the answers there. So why is it okay when it's science, but not okay when it's religion?
Two problems. Number one, there are scientists that can explain that. I'm just not one of them.
No, because they can't follow the thread to the very beginning. They start the story in the middle at the singular.
Right, but that's not the singularity doesn't mean that it's the middle. We just don't know what was before that. No, what we're saying, Brandon.
They can't answer. Listen,
right.
They can't answer.
Right, hold on, Brandon. I'm trying to answer your question.
Gotcha.
Just because they can't answer before Big Bang, because our concept of physics, time, space, matter, it breaks down at T-1, right? When the expansion of the universe starts to happen, they can't speak before that time because we don't have the physics to explain it. But just because we don't have this physics to explain it at this moment doesn't mean that they go from the middle and say that it's outside of our understanding. It says that this is something that we do not understand yet. That doesn't mean that we'll never understand.
Okay, got you. So to your understanding, how old do you believe the Earth is?
About 4 billion, according to geology. Mm-hmm.
Okay, and do you know? Let's just go with the Bible. How long do you think the Earth is? How old do you think the Earth is according to the Bible?
I think there's a few who's the thing that I think not the early church fathers, but a bunch of monks. I forgot what his name was. I'm not sure if it was Thomas
No,
Aquinas.
the Bible specifically. Like
they were doing the estimate of the Bible specifically. They came up with like 4,000 to 6,000 years.
No, it's so close. Yeah, about 6,000 to 10,000. That's how the estimate of how old the Earth is according to the Bible.
Yeah, that's wrong.
So, okay. So my thing is, right, we got the ocean, which marine biologists have only discovered 5%. The ancient Egyptian pyramids, they still cannot come up with a sound answer to why they're there, but they can track a singular 4.5 billion years in the past. That doesn't sound very prudent. It doesn't sound very scientifically sound. And
do you know how they do it? Do you know how they do that?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. So they do this through a series of like advanced math that I wouldn't be able to explain to you. But when it comes to the other claims, hold on. When it comes to the other claims of like the pyramids, we know why the Egyptians did the pyramids. They wrote it down. You know what I mean? So they did it in order to give their kings a tomb or to worship some sort of god. We know why they did it. We even know how they don't know how
it's built.
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
They know how they did it. They know how to do it. Yeah.
How did they build them?
It was built
12 tons.
Yeah, it was built from rock quarries, a bunch of basically human muscle, push and pull. You can put a lot of these things on ropes. You can balance them onto a block and then pull the blocks. Like we know how they did it. It was engineering.
We could not do that today with that much manpower. No,
there's literally a pyramid in Las Vegas.
They could not rebuild the same Egyptian pyramids, which each bridge being 12 tons. They could not.
Yeah, they can. We have machinery now. We have machinery now. We can do that.
I don't think they could rebuild that. But even still, what about
we literally have machinery.
Biologist, the 5% of the ocean being
Brandon. We made a tower. We made a tower that goes in. Hold on. We make towers that go into the clouds. The Burj Khalifa, which is way taller, and has a larger base than the pyramids of Giza. And you're saying that we can't do it? Yeah, we can.
Okay, but what about the marine biology? Because I actually didn't even realize that part, so I'll concede with that. But what about the marine biology part where they've only discovered 5% of the Earth and actually about like 1% of the universe? So how are they tracking a singular? That's what I want to understand.
How they're tracking the singularity? They don't track the singularity. It's basically based on a mathematical model. When you reverse the math, right, to see how, like, because when we look into space, we see the microwave background radiation and galaxy redshift, meaning that everything is moving away from each other. So they do the math to reverse it to see where everything was. And it's at that point of the singularity where the math gets us to, is at that point that time breaks down. Like our math on time, our math on space, our math on physics, it all breaks down at that point. It doesn't make sense once you get to the singularity. And
then you're going to tell me that they can't predate it from the moment right before the singularity. What is the singularity and what has it been stemmed from?
When they say singularity, that's at the point where it's basically a placeholder saying we're not sure what this is or what's going on. Yeah, I mean,
exactly.
Because
but that's where they start the story, right?
Right. That's where things start, but it's not a story. It's basically what the math and the evidence is showing us.
You know what I'm saying, though. That's where they start the theory. So my thing is, does it seem more prudent that something just expanded from nothing and we don't know how, or does it seem more prudent that there is a God in place and then that's why we have order in the universe? That's why we have the space-time continuum. That's why we have the planets perfectly aligned, because
but we don't have order in the universe and things are not perfectly aligned.
Things are very perfectly aligned to the
No, they're
point
not.
where we can still. Okay, you know what I mean. I'm not saying they're perfectly aligned in every single way. They're perfectly aligned to the point where we have been able to survive 4.5 billion years, according to you.
That doesn't mean it's perfectly aligned. That just
That's
mean
pretty aligned. It's
no,
aligned
it's
enough
not.
for our survival.
Hold on,
That, to me, that's perfectly aligned.
Brandon, are we the only planet in the habitable zone?
No.
Exactly. So, like, what are we saying here? It wasn't made for
So
us.
the universe is still aligned enough. Okay, at least Earth is still aligned enough for us to live a very habitable life.
Yeah,
that's my point. And
the Earth is the Earth is in a habitable zone, but so are millions of other exoplanets. We're not special.
Okay, but my point. Okay, back to the same point with the singularity, right? Is it more believable that something created the singularity, a higher being, or is it more believable that it just expanded from nothing? And no scientist can prove it, but at the same time, they can denounce your religion, denounce your faith by saying that the singularity, we don't know what that is, but we have some kind of scientific faith behind it. But when you say that with religion, it's somehow contradictory to reality.
Brandon, all that shows that you don't understand the position. They're not saying that expanded from nothing. No one said that.
They don't have an explanation to what it expanded from.
But just because they don't have an explanation, that doesn't mean it expanded from nothing. It doesn't mean that.
No. Okay. My stance is that, look, I can't confirm to you, okay, 100%, 1,000%, like some of these other people, the existence of God via your religion is real, but I can confirm to you, right, historical facts like Jesus was a real person, right? We can agree on that?
Yeah.
Okay. Jesus, he was actually persecuted by Romans and Jews.
He was,
right?
Yeah, he was crucified, correct?
Okay.
So what?
So you have historic. Sorry, I this thing is hella laggy. I can't tell.
What I'm saying is that Jesus could exist as a person. That doesn't mean he was God.
No, yeah, I understand. But here's my point. There is more in line to coincide with the fact of the existence of a higher being than there is to go with some crazy theory that there is.
No, there is not. No, there's not. No, there's not.
Yeah, there is.
What I'm saying is Jesus. No, there's not. Jesus existing as a person doesn't mean he had supernatural powers. There are plenty of people in history who claim to have supernatural powers. Julius Caesar claimed to be the son of Jupiter, the god of the Roman.
What about the disciples who
what
saw
about
the
them?
miracles by? What was that?
What about them?
What about the disciples who decided to die with him? Why were they so heavily convinced based on his rhetoric?
Because they were probably in a cult. Same thing with what the other guy named Jim Jones. People who died in the Jim Jones cult, they also said that Jim Jones made miracles. Like people say stuff like that all the time.
That's your whole thing?
What do you mean that's my whole thing? Yeah,
so
sure.
Your whole thing?
There are people who are convinced of things, right? But that doesn't mean that what they convinced of is true. Because if that's the point, if you're going to claim that, right? Jim Jones also had superpowers, and so did the guy who started the Mormon religion.
I completely agree with you.
Right.
Here's the missing
so
piece.
Hold on, Brandon. What I'm saying is that people believing the supernatural doesn't mean the supernatural is true.
No, I understand that, and I actually agree on that fact. But here's the part where I'm like trying to get at. I'm not going to say that indefinitely proves the existence of God. The only thing that I'm trying to make is that actually shows historically there were people who believed something that he showed, which means there was something shown, whether it was true or not, something was actually shown to these disciples. That is more historically accurate in proving towards something than saying a singular that nobody can prove when we don't even know Earth science from 5,000 years ago.
But you can prove the singularity. Here's the problem, Brandon. I don't doubt that they experienced something, but just like how you said, them experience something doesn't mean what they experience is actually true or actually comports to reality.
But my point isn't trying to make it true.
I get that, Brandon. What I'm saying is that none of this, if you're conceding that, right, that just because they experience something doesn't mean they experience supernatural, you cannot then claim that this historically shows that the supernatural or something more aligning to a divine actually exists. You can't make that claim. Because you already said that just because they might have experienced something doesn't mean it's supernatural. The second problem is we do know Earth science from 5,000 years ago because they wrote it down. But the other problem is that when it comes to the singularity, they can prove that through mathematics, through advanced mathematics that I can't show you. You have to talk to a physicist, but physicists can show that the singularity, the math checks out. That's what it shows.
If you go look at any physicist debate, any YouTube religious scholar, they actually cannot prove that, and they can't prove right before the singularity. They can prove.
Wait, hold on. Let me understand. You're saying that they can't prove the singularity? Don't have the math for it?
No, they can't prove right before it.
Right. We don't know what was before it. Exactly. It's a big we don't know. You know what I'm saying? But what I'm saying is that what I'm saying, Brandon, that just because we don't know that answer doesn't make God that answer.
No, but and I never said God was the answer. But my point is it's very disingenuous for people to denounce the existence of God based on a singularity when they don't have the evidence that predates it. And there's at least some kind of history that shows Jesus, number one, is a real human. He had disciples. And not only did he have disciples, the disciples saw at least something convincing enough to make them be like, okay, I want to believe in this despite not believing beforehand. That makes a lot more sense than a singular and then predate nothing that predates it.
Okay, so
same thing.
No, it doesn't.
It's the same argument that religion.
It's not. It's not. The singularity has mathematical proof. It has mathematical models. It has physical proof. We can actually prove the singularity.
They can't.
We cannot.
Okay, but
hold on. Wait, Brandon. We cannot prove that Joseph Smith had made miracles. We cannot prove that Jesus did miracles. We cannot prove Muhammad split the moon. We cannot prove that Buddha is into enlightenment. We cannot prove any of this, right? There is no evidence of any of this paranormal stuff. So saying that it makes more sense than the thousands of mathematical models that we have to show the singularity was a thing, just because we cannot point out what was before the singularity is crazy. Saying that, hold on, Brandon. All we have for the supernatural is stories. That's it. We don't have any evidence behind it, which you already admitted. All we have is a story. So just because there's a story of someone believing something supernatural doesn't make the supernatural true, nor does it mean that it makes more sense than the thousands of papers that we have on physics. That it doesn't mean that. That's ridiculous.
No, and I got a counter. But let me go through this. Let me take it full circle before you because it's very important you hear the whole thing. So I assume you heard about the UFO scientists and all of them that got killed and everything about that, right?
Who?
The UFO scientists that keep going up dead. You never heard about that?
What UFO scientists that keep turning up dead?
There was like some UFO scientists that tried to, I can't give you the full details because I don't know every last part of it, but it's UFO scientists kept appearing dead after, getting closer to discoveries, something along the lines of that, right? And then also you can see with the Epstein files and all that, every government tries their best to suppress things. So let me ask you this. If they did find definitive proof that actually proved the existence of God, prove the existence of all these things, do you think it would be prudent of somewhere like the United States to allow people to get these, especially when they're like Judeo-Christians that are very against the religion or very against people's beliefs in Islam and other, religions? Do you think that there's never been proof, or do you think that straight up, do you think it would be prudent for the governments to actually allow us to get this proof?
The government would.
Say that again.
I said, do you think it would be prudent? Do you think it would be prudent for the governments that have shown that they will keep things corrupt even after discovering things, like the UFO scientists going dead, right? Do you think it would be prudent for them to let us see actual historical proof that they have found that proves the existence of God?
Yeah.
Or do you think those people would end up dead?
Yeah, they'll automatically show it, because think about the American government. Name one president that hasn't professed Christianity.
That hasn't professed Christianity?
Yeah.
No, they're like these Judeo-Christians with like secret, like they have allegiance more to Israel and their beliefs.
Brennan, which president has not professed Christianity?
Okay, that's not the point.
But I'm just asking you, Michael. I should answer that. Like no president. Hold on. Wait. Listen, Brandon. Hold on, Brandon. No president has every single president that we've ever had has professed Christianity. Every single one. If there was actual proof that Jesus was a thing, especially since the majority of white people in this country are evangelicals who are waiting for the end times, they would automatically release it. It would have been released under George Bush because he was one of those ends day evangelicals. He would have released it. Yeah, I mean, there's no way I believe that the government has actual evidence that this supernatural being flew to the sky, and we've had several evangelical presidents who didn't release it. I don't believe that for a second.
Would that be the case for Islam? Would they release it if it was some scientific finding that proved the existence of Islam? Would they still release it?
Not American government. The Middle Eastern ones definitely.
No, they wouldn't. So they would be compromised. America also has nothing to do with anything biblically either. So let me ask you this: would those Islam countries release anything that proved the existence of Christianity?
Oh no, they will hide it. I definitely got you there. What I'm saying is that when it comes to governments, right, things leak all the time. Governments are messy. You know what I'm saying? So something about this
They're
word of
also
God
very
now.
sophisticated.
They are. What I'm saying is that
That's
something.
why the Epstein files went away.
I got you, Randy. I got you. They're sophisticated, right? And but things leak all the time. The reason why we knew about the Epstein files way before Epstein was even famous. We knew that he had files. You know what I'm saying? Because it was leaked. The government gets stuff leaked from the government all the time. So we're talking about a claim such as there was a supernatural being that did miracles and then flew to the sky, and there was absolute evidence of it, and they didn't release it. Someone didn't release that information. I don't believe it.
Okay, this is my point. If you're in a country where it's predominantly Islam, they're not going to release files that prove Christianity. It's bad for their economy, it's bad for their faith, and it's the overall end of their civilization. That it's not prudent for them to do so.
So you're saying that the Muslims have that information, but America
I didn't say
doesn't?
The Muslim. No. Don't mischaracterize my position. I didn't say the Muslims. I'm saying any country government that finds something that contradicts their core beliefs and proves another religion's prophecies, they're not going to release that. There's no way in hell.
Okay, I got you. I got you. But when we're talking about Christianity, there is no way that the Muslim countries have it and America doesn't. They're going to have it. So why wouldn't they release it?
Why? If Iran is trying to get away with hiding nuclear programs, why wouldn't they hide religious artifacts?
Because they're bad at doing that. They're not. We always find out when they're doing their nuclear programs.
They have underground cities that we can't pinpoint right now. They have the Strait of Hormuz closed. Clearly, they're not that bad at what they're doing.
No, they're not. They're not bad at closing the Strait of Hormuz. What I'm talking about, the information.
What about the underground cities? They're not bad at.
How do you think you know about it?
We don't know where they are.
We don't know where they are, but do we know where they exist?
Who gives a shit? If we can't pinpoint them, find them.
Brandon, we actually can pinpoint them. Trump.
Why haven't we gone in and gotten them? Because we can't get through their terrain.
Because exactly, we can't get through their terrain. We know where they are. Trump has bombed one of them before. The information gets out all the time.
I think it serves Iran better for us to know the existence of these underground cities than it does for us to not know. So I think that has a part to play.
So you're saying that there's that they're hiding more cities that we don't know about?
Possibly.
Sure, yeah, possibly. Sure, possibly. There could be more cities that they don't know about. But the problem is that, Brandon, us being lay people who are not even in the military, who know about these underground cities, means that information leaks all the time. So if there was some sort of information that proves any of these religions true, it would have leaked from these governments like a long time ago.
Look, every one theory that we've gotten leaked, I could guarantee you there's 10,000 that are classified CIA documents.
Of course, I'm not denying that, Brandon. But I'm saying that something as Brandon. What I'm saying is that
it doesn't have to be the existence of
Brandon.
God. Why
Hold
can't
on.
one of those things be something that proves
Brandon.
existing?
Brandon. What I'm saying is that something as big as that would have leaked.
Tell me why.
It absolutely would have leaked.
Tell me why.
Because we get things such as the Epstein file, such as the underground bunkers, such as the Panama Papers that shows that the billionaires of the world are purposely making people poor. Like all these things always leak, bro. And you're saying that the existence of the supernatural, just something like that, of the spiritual world, another dimension that goes to after we die, has never leaked. Something that most people in the world believe.
Conceded to my fact that things that. For every one of those, there's 10,000s that have been CIA classified. This is the holy grail of modern civilization. The world would crumble to find this information. Do you actually think that any country that has any kind of prudency would actually allow these documents to contradict their own religion, economy, and civilization?
I'm not even talking about the economy, because you move past the whole religion thing. You talk just something that shows that
these countries are theocracies.
Brandon,
the other part.
Brandon, hold on. If it was something as big as just the spiritual world, a dimension after we die, just that existing, some government would have leaked that. There's no way they would have kept it to themselves.
You took it way further than I went. It could literally be something as simple as Moses' chariots. The staff that turned into the snake.
Exactly. Something like that would have leaked, bro. It's major. Something like that would have leaked.
No.
Yes.
Absolutely not. Bro, if
we're out of time, bro. We're out of time.
So
My God.
you believe in the
Hold
crack
on, we're
epidemic.
my man, we're out of time. We're out of time. We're way
All right,
past
hey,
time.
it was good talking to you though.
Not a problem.
Yep, appreciate it.
All right, guys. We do gotta move on. I do have Horrible on the stage. Horrible. I'm gonna go ahead and put you on mute real quick. I gotta talk to my TikTok really quickly. All right. Who else we have up here? We have Emmanuel and we have Joker. Emmanuel, how's it going? Are you at least 18? And did you want to give me a good reason to believe in a God?
Yes to both questions.
Great. Joker, how about you?
I was hoping to debate the Christians, but I think you're only taking Christians. You want me to drop?
Okay. No, you can stay about. I just wasn't sure. My bad about that. And Horrible Noman. I don't even want to call you that. I want to call you Noble or something like that. Over on my YouTube, over on the StreamYard, what do we call you?
You can just call me Horrible. That works. I don't know if you can hear me. I'm at work right now. I got earbuds in.
I can hear you. You at least 18, and you think you give us a good reason to believe in a God?
Depends. Do you want to hear the transcendental argument again?
No,
I'm not sure.
All right. So stay on me for me.
That answers that.
I'll get back to you. Stay on me for me. All right, let's go ahead and talk to Emmanuel. Emmanuel, you can talk to me for a few minutes, and then I think Joker's gonna have a few questions for you. Let's go ahead and talk to you real quick. What do you think that good reason to believe in a God is?
Well, I think the first and most obvious reason is the loss of goodness.
The loss of goodness?
Yes.
Are you saying I can't be a good person unless I believe in a God?
Well, I'm saying that God is a spirit, and Jesus explained that he is your comprehension of goodness. And if that spirit leaves you, you'll no longer comprehend it. You won't know how to do it.
So I can't be a good person if I don't believe in a God?
Listen to what I'm saying. You're under grace right now. So yes, right now you can. But if you come forth from your flesh not believing and he leaves you, the comprehension of goodness you have now, it will no longer be there.
That doesn't really answer my question. Can I be a good person without believing in a God? It's just a yes or no. No, I can't. Okay, cool. What do you think a good person is?
A good person is somebody who has good morals and ethics.
Okay, cool. Under my morality and ethics, harming others deliberately is a bad thing. Do you agree?
No.
You don't agree that deliberately causing harm to others. I'll say this: deliberately causing undue harm, unjustified harm to others. Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
No, I don't believe that it's a bad thing because it's judgment. It's no different than the police arresting someone and then being prosecuted and convicted.
I don't think you actually understood my question. I said unjustified harm. That's what I said.
Right. Unjustified harm?
Unjustified harm.
Correct. That's not morally sound.
Cool. I don't do unjustified harm, so I'm still a bad person even though I don't do that?
Yes.
Why?
Because you don't appreciate the things that God gives to you.
Well, I don't know if a God exists first, but that doesn't mean I'm not appreciative.
Well, have you ever tried seeking him long enough for him to reveal himself to you?
I was a Christian for 25 years. I got baptized at 16. I did all that. So when it comes
to, you know that the word says
when it comes to being a moral person, do you think being a moral person is all just about being a Christian or believing in a God?
Yes.
Okay. How do you explain the horrible people in church then?
Those people are not being true to the faith. So as I was just trying to explain to you,
isn't that a no true Scotsman?
John 14, 21
isn't that a no true Scotsman? Isn't that a no true Scotsman?
Can I get one sentence out, sir?
You can get a sentence out. Is that a no true Scotsman? I'm going to let you just get a sentence out. Is that a no true Scotsman? Yes or no?
I don't know what that is, sir.
A no true Scotsman is when you move the basically the definition of something. Like for example, if the example is, it goes like this: there's a Scotsman who says that I don't like sugar on my porridge, right? Scotsmen, people from Scotland don't like sugar in their porridge. Then someone else says, my father is a Scotsman and he likes sugar in his porridge. And then the person one says, yeah, but no true Scotsman put sugar in their porridge. It's basically shifting the definition. So when you said that these people are not true to the faith, What is that? What are we getting at here? Because you're basically saying that they're not really Christian. That's a no true Scotsman.
So there are Christians who are not accepted by God. Jesus explained that when he said, many will say to me, Lord, Lord, and I will tell them, depart from me, I never knew you. So there are people who believe, but they are rejected by God, as explained in John 14:21, when Jesus made it clear that those who actually love him are those who keep his commandments. And those are the ones he reveals himself to. So if you were a Christian for 25 years and Jesus didn't reveal himself to you, it's because you, sir, did not keep his commandments.
How do you know that?
It's sin that separates us from God.
How do you know that? How do you know that?
Because he's revealed himself to me.
How do you know he reveals himself to you?
Well, very many reasons. I've seen him. I can tell you what he looks like. I've been to heaven. I can tell you some of the things that are there.
Cool. What
Many
does he look
reasons.
like? What does he look like?
He looks Middle Eastern.
Looks Middle Eastern?
Yes, he does.
All right, cool. Can you tell him to reveal himself to me right now?
That's up for you to do, sir. And that's how you're. Hold on. That's how
actually it's up to him. It's actually up to him because he wants the one. He's the one that wants a relationship with us, right?
Right. So do you think you deserve to see him right now or speak to him?
Yes.
Why?
Because he's the one that says that wants to save my soul, so I deserve it.
So if you read his word, did Moses not say, I set life before you and death before you, and that it's your choice to choose, sir?
Did Moses say that? Why would I care what Moses said? I'm caring about what Jesus
said. So God gave Moses his word to reveal to us.
Mm-hmm.
And that is what Moses said.
Okay,
that
cool.
It's up to you
Moses
to choose, sir.
Moses also said that slavery is okay. So is that what God told him?
Yes.
Okay, so slavery is good. Okay.
Yes.
Cool. Cool down Christian. All right. We're gonna go ahead and move on. Joker, I'm gonna get you in the second one. Let me ask Mother of Ritual first. Mother, how you doing, Mother? Are you at least 18? And do you think you give us good reason to believe in the Christian God? I said Christian God, any God at all, as a matter of fact.
Oh, okay. You asked really quickly. Yeah, I'm over 18. And then what was the second part of your question?
Do you think you give me a good reason to believe in a God?
I think I can at least give you a different framing. I don't think I can change your mind in 10 minutes.
All right, cool. Not a problem. Go ahead and hold on for me. There's someone right in front of you. His name is David. I'm sorry. Yeah, David. David, how's it going over on the YouTube stream? David, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
There you are. All right, David, we're going to go ahead and put a few minutes on the clock. Are you at least 18? And do you think you give us a good reason to believe in a God?
Yes, I'm 18.
All right, cool. What do you think that reason is?
I do have one argument. Okay, I might wanted to run this argument. I don't know how good it is, but anyway. So, it's just for a God. So basically,
you're in the Matrix. You're breaking up, friend.
By nature. Oh, sorry. Give me 1 minute. I'm gonna go down where I get better Wi-Fi.
Not a problem. All right, while he's doing that, y'all, just a quick shout out. Thank you so much, everybody watching me over on the Volcy Thought stream. You guys are wonderful. Thank y'all. I want to thank y'all so much. You can go ahead and join in on the live if you would like. I'll bring you onto the StreamYard stage. Once again, tiny.cc/volcylive. If you're watching me over on Twitch, I appreciate you there as well. Thank y'all so much. If you want to join in, once again, tiny.cc/volcylive, and over on the Deconstruction Junction. Also, tiny.cc/volcylive if you'd like to come up and speak about what we have on the board. Tomorrow I'm going to be on with Black Atheist Rants, where the subject is going to be Black people should not be Christian, Muslim, or Hebrew Israelite. We're going to have that tomorrow. And if you'd like to come talk to me tomorrow on that subject, please come on by. We would like to thank you. We're going to go ahead and get back to the show in a few minutes. Y'all remember to gift the panel. Anybody who's up here, if you agree with them, go ahead and gift them. I don't mind. Joker is one of our new friendlies. Y'all remember to give Joker. Go ahead and drop him some follows. If you agree with what Mother of Ritual is saying, go ahead, give her some gifts and drop her some follows as well. You don't have to only drop follows to me. I appreciate y'all for being here. We're going to go ahead and move on with the conversation. David, you said you have a good reason. What do you think that reason is?
Oh, can you hear me better now?
I hear you better now.
Okay. So I was thinking that humans, by default, we defer to some kind of authority in general.
Mm-hmm.
So my thought was, any person or even society defers to something, and that something would need to be somewhat static, but also somewhat dynamic. And wouldn't religion be one of those things that is somewhat dynamic in some ways and somewhat static?
I mean, yeah, because religion has changed over the years, right? Like, most white Christians don't think slavery is okay now. Back then they did. So yeah, it changes up, sure.
So I guess what my question is, if we don't, how do we get another like stable, the dynamics set of values without any kind of
without any type of God? I mean, you can still get some sort of foundational values without any type of God, right? You still use philosophy. Like, for example, over in East Asia, both China and Japan are not very religious societies. Like, they're like 60 to 70% atheists, but they still have a moral fabric of their society. They follow Confucianism. Yeah, I mean, over here in the West, we can still follow secular humanism. Over in Africa, they can follow West African communalism, based on their own spiritual traditions. We don't have to have a certain type of God or a God belief in order to have a moral foundation. You can do that with the Buddhists. The Buddhists, even though some of their theologies do have a God concept, a lot of the theologies don't. In general, they don't have a God belief within their theology, and they still have a moral foundation. You see what I'm saying? So you can still do all that without having a God belief.
Yeah, I'm just, it's definitely bit of a foreign concept to me, but. And then I do have one other question. If that's
sure.
Okay. So this is an argument I've heard, but that at least in the Bible, it was let me think. Why would we put this? The Bible exists. That's not really, whether it's the word of God, that's different. But why would the people who were writing it want to put stuff that would feature women as the first witnesses? I just wonder what you think about that.
I mean, who knows? I don't think that really matters. Is what it says true? That's the part that really matters. Yeah. We know that women weren't believed back then a lot. So
yeah.
So
like, that's
yeah,
kind
sure.
of like, I guess like what I've heard is, if you were just, why would you say it if you didn't think it was actually true?
I mean, yeah, they can believe it's still. I'm not denying that they believe it's true. You can believe something is true. That doesn't mean that it is true. You can believe all day that it is, but what makes it true is, does it comport to reality? And if it doesn't, then what are we doing at that point?
Yeah. So yeah, sorry, my brain wasn't working today. Sorry.
No, all good. All right. Let me get someone else in on this conversation. Give me 1 second. Eli, are you there, Eli?
Yeah, I'm here. What's up, brother?
All right. Give me 1 second, David. I'm gonna go ahead and get someone in on this. Eli, are you at least 18? And did you want to give me a good reason to believe in a God?
Yes, I'm 18, and I'd like to at least discuss just like on the topic of morality, like what you would ground your morality in.
Gotcha. Pause for me. Joker, did you have anything for David?
So I'm not gonna lie, I was a little bit distracted, but I don't mind engaging with him, right?
Not a problem. Not a problem. David, do you hear my TikTok? Do you hear Joker?
I can hear him, yes.
You can hear him. Okay, cool. Joker, go ahead and let him know what you want to ask him.
Yeah, I wanted to basically we can talk about the topic, right? Like, why do you think, what's your reason? Like, what reason can you tell me to believe in the God, basically?
So I realized that my argument was more about morals in general, not necessarily about a God per se.
So is there any of your morals today, right, society-wide, right? Are there any morals that is there any country that base or like Is there any place where we're living today that all their laws are drawn from the Bible, or are we the ones that set the laws?
So I would say there are some that are drawn from the Bible. Whether it's divinely inspired, it could either be divine or just humans wrote them down. But I would say yes, because basically themes of charity in the Bible actually is in the New Testament.
Let me ask you a question, David. Does the concept of charity and goodness exist outside the Bible?
It does.
Right. So our laws are not really based off of that, right? Especially in the West, in the United States, our laws are more based off Enlightenment principles and the Magna Carta, really, not English common law, not really the Bible. But my bad, Joker. Go ahead.
Sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. So if you say use the Bible for morality, right? If morality is the reason you believe Christianity is true, right? How do you determine Christianity is more moral than other religions or even secular ethics?
Can you repeat that?
So how do you determine, basically, if you say Christianity gives a better moral ground, right? How do you determine Christianity is more moral than other religions or even secular ethics?
I would guess it would then. I guess I would at the few views as what are the actual effects? Does that make any sense? That would be the first thing I would look at.
You said what doesn't make any facts?
No, not facts. Effects. It's almost similar to utilitarianism. Would you say? I'm gonna think about this. Let's just say if people say no, this feels infidelity. Would more good or more bad come from that? And then, because some people would say yes, some people would say no. But if you look at the possible effects, is it good or bad? And then, so you would use multiple frameworks and paradigms.
If you do that, right, then it starts a huge problem because
you're underwater, Joker. Joker, I'm sorry, you're underwater. Repeat that again. You're underwater.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm saying if we do that, right, then there'll be a lot of problem, right? Because if we look at the Bible, I will ask you, these laws you're saying, or these laws are moral guidelines you're talking from, are they from both the Old and the New Testament? Are both parts admissible?
Are both parts equally worthwhile to look at?
Are they admissible? Are they admissible to structure morality in a Christian?
So I would think that I would mainly look to the New Testament, but it's also
then
the Old
the
Testament
problem
would
begins.
be.
Then that causes a huge problem because Jesus didn't nowhere did he say that we should stop following the laws.
Oh no, he didn't. But
yeah, and the laws, when God gave it to Moses, he said it would be a statute for the Israelites until the end, right? Basically. So are you saying then that the laws in the Old Testament, they are desolate, we don't use it anymore?
I wouldn't.
Because if we don't use it anymore, then we still use it.
I would say yes. At least the 10 Commandments, definitely. I don't know the other Levitical laws.
But why would we keep just the 10 Commandments when God gave about 643 in total? I might be wrong with that number, but 600 or something in total. Why would we keep parts and leave parts?
Well, if I may,
Hold on,
part of a larger story.
Hold on, wisdom. It's David and Joker right now. So the time winds down. I promise I'm gonna get to you, but it's gonna be Mother Ritual in front of you first. All right, David, go ahead and answer that question. I'm gonna give you 1 more minute.
Okay, sorry. So what I was gonna say is, as far as the Levitical laws and the ceremonial ones, this is what I've heard some preachers say. So you know. But that because we don't need to sacrifice anymore, those sacrificial rituals and going to the temple, those customs are not needed anymore. So like that would get rid of a fair amount of the ceremonial laws.
Right, but that would be for atonement of sin, right?
Yeah.
What I'm asking about is, are the laws, right, that the laws where if we don't keep them, we fall into sin, right? I'm not talking about the atonement right now. The laws where if we don't do, we fall into sin, right? Are those laws, are they still upheld today? Because the reason why I ask is, less than 200 years ago, you can do research on this, from the Southern Baptist Convention to the Presbyterian Church to the Methodist Church. They use this same Bible to perpetuate and say slavery was right. Yeah, there are a lot of doctrines concerning this. You can look up the Southern Baptist Convention, right? And they did not even apologize for this until the 90s, right? So, what I'm trying to drive at is, if it was right less than 200 years ago, and these were still the laws of God, and this is what they used to enslave my own ancestors, right? The African people. Who then all of a sudden decided, oh, that this part is wrong and this part is right? Is that just our own human judgment? Or is that what is in the book?
I need to think about some of this stuff. So
okay, not a problem. All right, we are right out of time, but David, okay. I do appreciate you for being here. Come back anytime, all right?
Sure. Have a good day.
You as well. All right, guys. There is one more person over in the StreamYard. I have Alec. He was here yesterday. Alec, I'll get to you soon. Let's talk to Mother Ritual, and we're gonna talk to Wisdom. All right. We had a whole bunch of people up here, which is why I did the entire panel thing. But if they're not here anymore, we'll go ahead and go back to what we were doing before. Y'all just give me 1 second to get the panel back up. All right, y'all give me 1 second. If you are watching me over from the Twitch, I appreciate you watching me on Twitch. Y'all wonderful. Thank y'all so much for watching me there. If you are watching me over from the Deconstruction Junction, once again, thank you for being there over on Deconstruction Junction. Y'all go ahead and keep liking. We can go ahead and keep the conversation going. And if you're watching me over on my personal channel, Volcy Thoughts, once again, you are appreciated. Let's keep the comments and the likes going. Y'all wonderful. Thank y'all for being here. I'm going to be setting up the give goal right now. Let's go ahead and get to it. But right now we're on Mother Ritual. How you doing, Mother? Are you at least 8? Well, you told me you're at least 18 and you wanted to talk to me just a bit about it. What do you think is a good reason to believe for me to believe in a God?
Well, the main thing that I wanted to ask you was, I kind of wanted to lean on the philosophies of your argument.
Sure.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so can I just ask you, how do you know the Magna Carta is real?
I don't know the Magna Carta is real?
Yeah.
Like the physical copy of it? We can go see it. It's in the museums.
Okay. Is that your... Okay. But the New Testament has like way more manuscript evidence, more independent sources, more corroborating documentation than that. But
I mean, it doesn't. That's the problem, right? That's the problem why a lot of people don't believe. I mean, I don't have an issue with, like I said before, about maybe 30 minutes ago, I don't have an issue with Jesus being a real person. I don't even have an issue with his disciples being real people or based off real people. The issue is more on did he do all the superpower stuff?
okay, but
there's no evidence of that part.
So I'm just, like I said, I'm addressing the philosophy of the argument. So I know that in 8 minutes, I can't, or however time that I have, I can't change your mind completely. But what I can do is give you talk about the philosophy of your argument. And so to say that the Magna Carta is real, but the things that are the evidence that is in the Bible is not, is like inconsistent. Your standard that you're applying is inconsistent, is what I was trying to say.
No, that's incorrect. Because I didn't say that that the Bible isn't real. Like the Bible exists, right? We can see it. When you say about something about the Magna Carta, it is different because the Magna Carta is just a document. The Magna Carta is not something that people use as a basis of religion or has any supernatural claims in it. So I didn't say that the Bible isn't real. I didn't even say Jesus isn't real. What I'm talking about is the stories within the Bible are those actually true? You know what I mean? It could mention real people, real places, and probably even real events, but the legendary things, the supernatural things happening around it, are those actually true? A more better example, because you kind of do it a false equivalence. The Magna Carta is not the same as the Bible. So what I'm trying to say is that a better equivalence would have been like the Odyssey. The Odyssey is a story that tells the story of real people, real places, a real event, but it puts supernatural elements into it. Like the Odyssey tells a story of like Greece and Troy going to war. Greece and Troy were real places. They actually did have real people, like legendary figures like Prince Hector. That's a legendary figure, right? Maybe based on a real guy. And the story of them going to war is actually true. But did Zeus intervene in the battle? That part is more in question.
Sorry, the reason that I brought up the Magna Carta specifically is because you brought it up, and you and the Magna Carta informs a lot of laws now, right? So people, the procedures, the policies, the things in the Magna Carta have informed a lot that exists now, right? In policy, and so that's what I'm just saying. That like my argument is that there's a double standard, right? So like,
but I'm not employing a double standard though. That's what I'm saying.
Do you see the double standard that I'm claiming that you're applying though?
No, because it's a false equivalence. Okay. I don't worship the Magna Carta.
No, I'm not saying you do, but I'm saying I can't say that. I can't make you. I'm not arguing on the terms of worship because you don't worship, right?
Right. Here's
I'm using your angle of understanding. I'm using policy, procedure. I'm using systems. I'm using things like that. Your angle of understanding.
But why? I think. Hold on, give me a second, mother. I think you don't understand why I bought the Magna Carta. The reason why I bought the Magna Carta before is because the person that another guest claimed that our entire society is based off the Bible, and it's not. Our society is based off Enlightenment principles. Hold on. Our society is based off Enlightenment principles, the Magna Carta, English common law. That's where all of our Constitution, the way our separation of powers, that's where it comes from. It's not based off the Bible. That's the only reason why I bought it up, right? But saying that, it's a double standard for me to saying the Magna Carta exists, but I don't believe these stories in the Bible of a guy dying and rising in 2.5 days and flying to the sky is kind of a false equivalence. Like one is telling, how a government is supposed to work and what rights the citizens have, and the other is making a claim of supernatural, saying that I accept one because that's what our entire society is based off, but I don't accept the other. It's not really a false equivalence.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. I was just looking at the timer beat down. So the thing is, I understand your point, okay? But the reason I was leaning off of the Magna Carta is I guess I misheard what you were saying, because and I've seen some of your content, and it seems like you lean on like policy and things like that. So that's why I thought that was a good level of understanding for both of us. Mm-hmm. But I agree. I understand what you're saying, where the Odyssey is fine. I don't know anything about the Odyssey, so I can't use that. I wouldn't use that because I only know that I read it, right? Mm-hmm. But in the former debate, or I don't know what you call these things, the conversation that you had with another person, you argued that that because the concept of God was like found and constructed by humans, that it's not reliable proof of reality.
No, I said faith is not reliable. I said that yesterday. I'm not sure if you were here yesterday, but I did say that yesterday. I say faith is not reliable. It's not a reliable way to find the truth, because there are plenty of ancient civilizations that had faith, right? Like the ancient Egyptians had faith that the sun was Amun-Ra, a dude with an eagle for a head sitting up in his bed, and that's why the sun rose. We know that's not true, but they had faith in it. You know what I mean? So it's one of those things where I said that you need more than faith. Like faith doesn't really do anything. Even the Bible says so. Faith without works is dead.
Yeah. Mm-hmm, it sure does. What evidence standard do you base it off of? Because if you say, like, okay, the way that common law is looked at, right? They look at I'm looking at Katie, who like insulted me, my character earlier. I popped up on here because I was like, if you're gonna insult me, at least
Don't worry about the comments. Don't worry about the comments. Just talk to me. Don't worry about this.
It's just like, just because I disagree does not mean that I'm a bad person. Just because
Mother, I got you. Don't really pay attention to the comments. Just talk to me. No, pay attention. Go ahead. What you were saying?
Oh, cartoon, it's crazy work. Okay, so I'm just saying that your evidence standard. So let's say oral history.
Mm-hmm.
Do you believe oral history? Do you believe like the history, like you said, do you believe in like the history of Julius Caesar? Mentioned some earlier.
I got you. Oral history, when it comes to that, right? When it comes to oral history, there are some things that you're gonna have to take into scrutiny. Now, historians do take oral history. They're fair with it because there are a lot of civilizations out there that didn't necessarily write things down, right? They didn't write things down until later, like West African civilizations. Like they didn't write things down until probably like 300 years later when Sabidi was invented. And even then, it was only with the higher echelon that had the writing. So you got to take a lot of oral history into consideration. I think the point where we have to be careful is when that oral history starts to getting into fantastical things that we can't show to be true. That's the reason why I brought up like the Orishas earlier, right? Because a lot of that is oral history. A lot of that is in them saying that these spirits created this land and this river and this rain pattern, et cetera, et cetera. You feel me? That's in their oral history, but no one here is saying that Yamoja is the reason why rivers exist, right? No one is doing that. So that's why oral history can be taken up to a point. You feel me? And I think the point I'm going to give it is that where I give it a lot more scrutiny is when they put something fantastical into the story. You see what I mean? Like if they're talking about, dragons and lightning from some sort of spirit, then we have to give it more scrutiny on if that's historical or is that something that was just added over time.
And the point that I was making is that your evidence standards and your like moral intuitions are all constructed by humans, right?
I'm sorry, can you say that one more time?
So your evidence standards, the ones that you just listed, right? And your moral intuitions are all constructed by humans, right?
Yeah, we consider that as a society. I think we all kind of operate that way.
So why should I use the framework you're using to discredit the belief that God exists?
I'm not saying that God doesn't exist. I didn't say you have to discredit it either. But what I'm saying is that you already use that framework. Everything that is about everything you believe about any type of religion is going to come from other people before you.
Yeah, and that's the same for like math, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah, but I would say the difference.
The reason I bring up math, I'm going to tell the difference. The reason that I bring up math is that math is something that you can have empirical evidence, right? Mm-hmm. Whereas another one, which would be like something that's faith-based, would have to have individual and humanistic evidence, right? Mm-hmm. So there are different evidence levels. And so that's what I'm saying. So like, when I'm saying that something needs to be proven or disproven, you cannot use something that, like, I wouldn't tell you to use math to discover history, right? And so that's the same thing. That's what I'm saying. Right. I'm saying that you have to look at it at the same layer of understanding as you would look at things that is more humanistic, right? So like historical evidence, like, like secondary.
I got you. I understand that, right? I understand that, right? But that goes back to what I was saying about that type of faith-based thing being unreliable, because if we were to go by that, people will still believe that Zeus or that lightning and over in Greece comes from a guy sitting on a mountain throwing down bolts, right? Because that's what they just took on faith.
Still believe that.
There are some people, I don't deny that. There are some people who probably still take that seriously. I don't think many, but there are some folks who still take that seriously. But the problem is that we know that's wrong. Yeah, I mean, lightning doesn't come from a guy sitting on a mountain throwing down bolts. That's not where lightning comes from. So we know that it's incorrect. So we just can't use when we say that there are different levels of evidences. Faith is not evidence. It's essentially hearsay, because it's something that I'm not. One thing I always say is that I don't deny that people experience something. I'm always criticizing what they attribute that experience to. because just because you experience, you know, a bearded man in the sky doesn't mean that's actually true. I could experience a pink dragon outside my window. That doesn't mean the pink dragon is real. You see what I mean? So that's the basis that I could go off of. How do we actually show these things to be true?
And that's a good question, because that is something that we need to start like unpacking, how to show that is true. But we have to use a standard that's not just in math, right? We
Why
have
not,
to, or else, because we have ask your question one more time.
What I'm asking is that why not? If we take something,
Why not you?
Why
not lean out of math for a second?
Right.
Is that what you're asking? Okay. The reason I'm saying that we have to lean out of math first is that we have to be able to translate something that's like, we have to look at a system, the imperial. You don't even have to look at like faith if you don't want to, right? You have to look at the evidence and how evidence is collected when we look at like things like history or oral history and things like that, and then figure out a way that we can now translate that into something that we can prove with a scheme, right? And that is something that definitely needs to be pursued, is what I'm saying.
I got you. So
yeah,
I agree with that, right? So what I say is that every single time when we do that, when it comes to the supernatural claims, we come up with nothing. Like that's what I mean.
Give you proof for that.
Hold on, give me a second.
I can give you proof for.
So whenever it comes to the supernatural claims, right, that's when it comes up with nothing. We can't show these supernatural claims to be true. We can take the oral history and then we can tie it into archaeology, research things, et cetera, until they get to the supernatural stuff. No evidence of it at all. You know what I'm saying? So that's the issue that we typically have. But we are basically out of time, though. Mother, you can come back anytime and we can speak about this. All right.
Yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate that we ran out of time, but I appreciate you talking with me about this.
Not a problem. Appreciate you. All right. We do have Wisdom, and then there's Alec over on my StreamYard. Give me 1 second, Alec. I have Wisdom here. Wisdom has been one to speak for a while. I appreciate you, Wisdom, for being patient with me. What you got for me, Wisdom? You did say that you're over 18 and you think you give me a good reason. What do you think that good reason is?
So I was agnostic myself for most of my adult life. So I was like, maybe there's a God, maybe there isn't, but I don't really care. Right. Now, don't get me wrong. I've always had an interest in religion and anthropology. Right. Like the study of human customs and human beings. And so I've looked into a lot of different systems of faith and ideologies.
I'm sorry, give me 1 second. All right, we good. Go ahead.
Yeah, I've studied a lot of different systems of faith and ideology. So like I was in the military many moons ago, and then I practiced Buddhism. And I read the Dhammapada, during that period of time, and studied the I Ching and the Tao Te Ching and the Taoist Book of the Dead. And, I paid a guru to teach me transcendental meditation so I could experience cosmic consciousness. So I've always had an interest in these types of things. But in terms of believing in like a God in the sky, that was never really something that I could get on board with, because it just seemed like a convenient and ridiculous explanation for everything. Right. Mm-hmm. So I just was like, yeah, no way. Right. But, I wasn't willing to fully discount it. I mean, a lot of the information that pertained to spiritual practices and spiritual knowledge was very interesting. I studied Hinduism. They've got the Bhagavad Gita and the Vedas and the Sutras and the Upanishads, and they have the, Theravedic system of medicine, which was all really interesting, and their gods of Brahman and Atman and Krishna. And the story of the conversation between him and Arjuna being laid out in the.
I'm sorry to cut you off, Wisdom, but where are we getting to? What do you think the good reason is?
So the point is I often hear people talk about Christianity and don't really understand Christian theology at all. They believe that the Bible is something that they can read for themselves and interpret based on their own thinking, because they don't know what hermeneutics are. They have no clue what exegesis is. They don't understand what a Kaisiatic writing structure is. They have no clue what they're reading. So they'll read the book of Jonah where a man gets swallowed by a fish and they think that's what the story is about. They don't understand that it's a story about what happens when you reject the purpose that is put on your life. So oftentimes what I find now that I am a Christian, right, is that when I talk to most people, they have very little to no understanding whatsoever of Christian theology. So they don't know what they're rejecting.
I got you. So these stories are a lot more metaphorical than they are literal. Like, I would agree with that. They're a lot more metaphorical. I said the same thing about Jonah. I said the same. Actually, I took the interpretation of Jonah as being about procrastination. But yeah, I took the same thing about Jonah, David and Goliath, the Tower of Babel, even Noah's Ark. These are all just metaphorical stories. The question then becomes, how do you separate the metaphorical from the literal stories? Because if Jonah is a metaphorical story, how do we know that Jesus rising and dying and rising is also not a metaphorical story?
Yeah, sure. So the death, so historians as a group, secular historians, affirm and agree on the existence of Jesus. You do know that, right?
Yeah, I said this multiple times already.
Okay.
I don't have an issue with Jesus as a person. It's the superpowers.
His crucifixion. So hold on, check this out. So his crucifixion is a historically verified event as well.
Right, but that's not the issue here. I'm
taking you down.
It's about you don't have to do that. It's about the powers.
Well, all right. Well, you said that these stories were metaphorical, and how do you know the difference? And I'm telling you that you can confirm the historicity of them through third parties,
right?
The Babylonians,
but not the powers
at the time. Okay, so yeah, that's okay. So check this out. I believe that there are proof of the powers, and I'll explain to you really quickly why. Okay, so there's tons of prophecy inside of the Old Testament, and these books were part of a Jewish tradition where the age of them can be mapped and dated. Like we know that certain books were written 800 years ago, 870 years ago, 1,000 years ago, and they've been carried forward through the Jewish tradition of books, and they were and they confirm things that are incredibly specific about prophecy. So I'll give you an example. Joel 2 is like a 800-year-old, or was 800 years before the birth of Christ. And it speaks about there being a blood moon and a lunar eclipse on the day that, he's crucified on the day of our Lord. And NASA recently confirmed that there was a lunar eclipse, 59% blood moon on April the 4th, 33 AD at 3 p.m. So I get where you're coming from, but I wonder oftentimes if people have looked at any of the evidence for why people who consider themselves to be rational, right, for the most part, do place their faith in this, because there is external proof. And that's not the only prophecy. There's Daniel 9 and Psalm 22 and Psalm 102, and there's Ezekiel and Isaiah. And they're so specific about the person of Jesus and the things that are going to happen to him that, it's not something you can just shrug off if you do give it a serious look. So I would say this: you seem like a reasonably intelligent guy. All the interactions I've seen you have up to this point have seemed to be genuine, right? You definitely seem intelligent.
All right. So Wisdom, I just did
a Christian theology.
All right, Wisdom. So I just
some of the practices.
Wisdom. I just went ahead and I did a quick Google, and it said no, NASA does not support a solar eclipse occurring when Jesus died. Where'd you get that from?
All right, so look up blood moon on April 3rd, 33 AD, confirmed by NASA. It'll say it was a 59% blood moon, not a full one.
Okay,
just search a little bit deeper.
So lunar eclipse, April 3rd, 33 AD?
Yep.
Okay.
59% blood moon.
Researchers, including citing NASA data, have proposed that a partial lunar eclipse occurred on the evening of April 3rd, 33 AD, which may have caused the moon to appear red as a blood moon.
Yep, there you go. So like that's crazy that, Joel, who wrote it, 800 years before Jesus was born, would say that would happen. And that's the supposed day of Jesus's crucifixion is April the 3rd, 33 AD at 3 p.m. And it was only visible from Jerusalem.
Right.
So
but you said
that's crazy to me. But
hold on, Wisdom, there's an issue here.
Yes,
You're saying that NASA confirmed this. They didn't. It was some researching. It was some researchers looking at NASA data. But an astronomer who actually works at NASA says that it would have been like it wouldn't have been a clear eclipse or even a partial eclipse. Like it would have been something else.
Yeah, it was 59% was what it says. If you look up 59%, you'll get even more data on it. The point is is that because predicting celestial events.
Which Joel says
hundreds
this?
and hundreds of. The point I'm making to you is this. This isn't the only prophecy either. There's David talking about the hands and feet being pierced before the Messiah, or for the Messiah to be cut off. And this is, 500 years before crucifixion existed and 1,000 years before Jesus.
I heard of that. The one in Psalms, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Psalm, I think it's Psalm 102.
Yeah. There's problems with that.
Pretty specific.
No, there's problem with that one too. I was just reading it the other day. But there's.
Yeah. We'll see if you can.
You're talking about Psalm 89. No, that's something else.
It's like It's either Psalm 22 or Psalm 102.
Psalm 22 or Psalm 102. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. But yeah, there's issues with that. It
doesn't seem like you do. It seems like you're familiar with it, but you don't.
I'm familiar with it, but I forgot what I read about it. But there's issues with that one as well. Yeah, so I'm not going to go down that line, right? But what I'm saying is that when it comes to all these prophecies, right, the issues that I have with them is that you can interpret a lot of these things like almost any way that you will like. It's not very specific.
Well, I get what you're saying, and you can choose to look at it that way 100%. But I don't, just because there are people who refute it and they have a justification for their refutation, doesn't mean that their refutation is valid and a means to throw it out altogether.
Why would it not?
And so I just encourage people. I didn't hear what you said. What did you say, brother?
Why wouldn't it be if they're looking at these same things, right? And they're like, okay, this was
not
written.
all
Hold on. If they're looking at these things and they're saying, okay, this was written within a certain genre and it's about actually a certain people. It's not about this person. It's about these things going on at the moment. So it cannot be a prophecy. What would you say to that? If they're like biblical scholars saying that this is not a prophecy because this, that, and the third, and doesn't line up with this, and this language is that, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So that's not that's not a prophecy. What would be the pushback against that?
Yeah, well, so because it's not biblical historians that are writing this stuff. They're critics of the Bible, especially within the small cap community. I don't want to say anything that'll get us banned, but that want to deny the historicity of all of that, and they have an agenda. And so it's just up to you to look at both sides of the data.
But I'm talking about
the fact that there are people who refute it.
Wisdom. Hold on. I'm talking about people who are.
I can finish.
Wisdom. I'm talking about people who are not part of that community that are also refuting it. How would you explain that? It can't just be these are the enemies of God. Therefore, that's silly.
I'm not just saying that, right? I'm saying that there are people who have their own agenda as to why they want to refute it, and and some of it isn't an honest telling, right? There are people.
So can't you say the same thing with the opposite end? That people who say that it can't you say the same thing about the opposite end? People who have
I can.
Right.
There are people that there are tons of people who aren't familiar with the information that affirm it, and they haven't read to confirm it either. So
exactly.
That's 100%.
So what I'm saying is that what do we do? What does the data actually suggest?
Well, that's what I'm saying. You'd have to look at the data for yourself and make a determination for yourself. Right. It's up to you to decide whether or not you believe in something. But I'm saying that. So what I'm saying,
I got you. So what I'm saying is that if we have to look at the data to go ahead and make a confirmation, and then the research that we do, and the small amount of research that we do says that the data actually points against this being prophecies.
Sure.
Then what?
Sure. Well, then that will be for you to make that determination at that time. But at this time, what it seems like is you've looked at some of this stuff. You've looked at it enough to express some level of familiarity, but I don't think that I'm having a conversation with somebody that understands it well enough to qualify or disqualify it, with all due respect.
No, that's true.
All right, so that's the point that I'm making, is that each person has to look at this stuff for themselves. But for me, I'm not a faith-based person where you can just tell me to believe something because God says so. It has to make sense. And so for me, I had to look at this stuff for myself. And I didn't look at it to try to confirm what I believed. I looked at it to try to see what the hell it was all about. And, for me, it was sufficient for me to accept the premise. For you, it may not be. But the point I'm making to you is a lot of folks, they've got a lot to say about this stuff, and they haven't studied it well enough to qualify or disqualify it. I'll hear people who sit up and make references to biblical theory and, God did this and God did that, but they don't understand Christian moral doctrine.
That's fine. It's like all this comes down to the point of, can we show any of this to be true? And from what I've read, what it comes down to. Hold on. Well, from what I've read from all of these things about prophecies and all that, they're all either very, very vague or they're not prophecies at all.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. You're going back to the prophecy talk. I got it. I made that as a point to substantiate supernatural information being passed throughout time. I thought you and I already came to the conclusion that you haven't studied it well enough to qualify or disqualify it, and it's something you should read deeper into, unless your mind's already made up, which is your choice as well.
Right, no, I'm not saying my mind is made up.
I've looked at it enough in depth. Well, I've looked at it enough in depth where I've made a decision about the information I was exposed to.
All right, so
and I think that is too.
What I'm saying
sorry,
is that,
I don't want to overtalk you.
What I'm trying to say is that the information that I was exposed to about all the not all the prophecies, but like I don't know deep detail, right? I can't rattle off facts.
I know that's why you can't qualify.
What I'm saying is, hold on. What I'm saying is that the information that I was exposed to, right? These things are either extremely vague or they're not prophecies at all, or none of it happened.
You know one way or the
like for example, people usually bring up Isaiah 53, but when you read Isaiah is all about the kingdom of Israel. It's not about Jesus at all. So why would 53?
The kingdom of Israel.
It is about the kingdom of Israel. It's Israel. It's Israel personified. It matches up with the Babylonian exile.
Yep, I know when it occurred too. Yeah, but it's not about the people of Israel, because there's a whole bunch of piety that's written into there that is not the case. The exile was a result of bad behavior. It was foretold that they were going to be exiled because they were screwing up. So describing them as a suffering servant doesn't line up. But there are people who get online and say that they aren't biblically literate, and so they don't know.
Hold on. How does that not line up? How does that not line up? They're suffering.
Well, I just explained it to you.
You just said that they were committing bad behavior, so they got punished. And
right, yeah.
so it would describe them as a suffering servant.
Exiled? Yeah. Huh? Do you know why they got exiled?
No, not really.
Okay, yeah. So they weren't exiled just because it was woe is me and something bad happened to them and they didn't deserve it. Their exile was a judgment against them by God because of their behavior, because of sacrificing children and worshiping Baal and sexual immorality and a whole bunch of other weirdo stuff that they were doing that they were called to stop, and they wouldn't. So they were exiled.
Is there any archaeological evidence of this?
It's part of the story that you're reading it from.
I know it's part of the story. I'm asking about archaeological evidence.
The context is, I got it. I got it. But check this out. Yes, there's archaeological evidence about the exile, but the point I'm making to you is that if you're talking about why Isaiah is or is not a prophecy that pertains to Israel, that is a question you would answer inside of the context of the story.
Right.
And the context of the, just allow me to finish.
Wisdom. I get the concept of the story, right? If we're gonna
why are you asking me about
hold on, listen.
Sure.
The reason I'm asking about archaeological evidence because just because the story says something doesn't make it true.
I know that.
So when you
hold on, what I'm saying to you.
Hold on. So that's why I'm asking about archaeological evidence. When you said that when you say that they were sacrificing babies, worshiping Baal, etc., and so God came down from the sky and exiled them, do we have any archaeological?
Listen. Check this out, brother Volcy. Up to this point, I've experienced you as somebody who's respectful. Okay, so the God coming down from the sky, you adding that into the story, it's not part of the story. And
okay, so it's not part of the story. That's fine. What I'm asking is,
so don't try to make my ideas look ridiculous when it doesn't look like you understand them well enough to argue.
What I'm asking is, do we have any archaeological evidence of any of this, or even the God concept of God exiling them?
I answered that question. Yeah, I answered that question.
So when God, hold on, wisdom. When God exiled them, right? When God made the punishment, how did He do it? Did He go to a prophet, or did He say it Himself? How was it done?
What, the exile of the Israelites?
Yeah, did He tell them that they're going to be exiled, or they just get conquered?
Yeah, He tells them. He warned them through prophets. In the story, He warns them through prophets.
All right,
great.
Listen.
Yeah, they don't listen, and then they're exiled.
Gotcha.
But that's not the point of what we're talking about at all.
No,
we're on a totally different. We were talking about whether or not it was a prophecy that applied to Jesus or
Israel, or the people. Yeah, I got you.
That's what we're.
But what I'm saying is that when you read Isaiah, they always describe the nation or Jacob as Israel until you get to 53. Then people change it up there. So throughout all of Isaiah, it was talking about Israel. And in 53, why wouldn't it be talking about Israel? That's what I'm trying to say.
Yep, understood. The reason why is because Israel doesn't fit descriptively to the being that they're describing as Jacob or Israel, because Israel is not the victim in all of this.
Yes, they are. They're the ones getting exiled, bro. What do you mean?
Yeah, so check this out. I'm going to tell you this, Volcy, my brother. I can tell you what something is, but I'm not going to argue with you about something that you think it is when you don't believe in any of this stuff anyways. So I'm just telling you, I can tell you what it is, but to argue with you about something that it's obvious you don't know is foolish to me. I don't want to do that. You're asking me why I think. I can tell you why, but for you to argue back against my points when you don't know this stuff is crazy. I'm saying Christian theology is where you should start. If you want to get an understanding of what is actually being espoused and what these people actually believe, then you should look at Christian theology. But to disqualify Christianity with no knowledge of that is just as foolish.
I'm not disqualifying Christianity. I'm up here saying that there is no evidence that because
I know,
Christianity,
but you can't qualify that statement.
Christianity starts and ends at Jesus resurrecting. We have no evidence of that being true. If Jesus didn't resurrect, then all of Christianity is false. That's what I'm saying. We cannot show that. Hold on. We cannot show that to have happened.
Okay.
And we cannot even show the prophecies are actually true. Because again, us going back and forth in 20 minutes shows that there's all this is way up to interpretation. We cannot show any of this stuff to be true. So that's where I disqualify every religion at, not just Christianity. I don't believe voodoo. I'm Haitian, right? I don't believe voodoo either. I don't think voodoo is true.
Yeah, I got it, but that's irrelevant. The point that I'm making to you is this. Because people refute things doesn't mean it is a meaningful or valid refutation. And not every refutation is honest or logical or rational or based off the best available data.
Okay, cool. So what makes you think that it's not?
That's what I'm asking. Finish a sentence. You got to let me finish a sentence if we're going to engage.
No, it's fine, bro. It's fine. I'll let you finish a sentence. What I'm asking is, you can say that these reputations, I said these reputations can be dishonest. What makes you think that? That's what I'm asking.
I don't understand why you don't know that every refutation isn't honest.
I didn't say that, man. I didn't say that. What I'm asking is, when it comes to these reputations that you think, these reputations.
I look at both sides. I'll answer your question because I look at both sides of the argument and I make a determination for myself based off my best thinking and the best available data.
All right, that means that's confirmation bias, bro.
That it would have been confirmation bias if I started out as a Christian. It really would have been. But I started the conversation by telling you that I wasn't. The point that
I used to be, and I ended up on the other side.
I get it, but I'm going to tell you based off of what you're saying to me, it doesn't matter if you used to be and now you're not, because let me ask you a question. Okay. I'll ask you this. What does exegesis mean? What does that term mean? How does it apply to the Bible?
I'm unsure.
Okay. All right. What does hermeneutics mean? How does that apply to the Bible?
Hermeneutics, if I'm not mistaken, is basically how a language works. Essentially, I have a very bare understanding of it. Hermeneutics, I think, is basically how language works and how language is said. Like a good example I've heard of, is someone saying, I'm gonna kill you, but it's not an actual statement that they're gonna kill you. It's more metaphorical. You know what I mean? So it's basically on that. If I'm understanding hermeneutics right, that's what it. That what it means. It's basically how language works.
Yep. Nope. So the point that I'm making is that I talk to a lot of people where they disqualify information that they don't really understand based off the understanding that they have, and the understanding they have is based on how much they've looked into it. And when you talk to them, they haven't looked into it much beyond confirming their own bias that it's not real. But if I were to ask you what Christian theology was, or how Christian moral ethics are grounded, or what is the basis of the Christian moral ethical system, you couldn't describe it to me. So like if you were to ask me what progressive liberal feminist ethics were, I could tell you what they were as an idea structure. I could tell you at the very top of this structure, they place autonomy. And then I could explain the other concepts that are underneath it because I've looked into it before I disqualified it.
All right,
but what I hear from you, and I'm saying a sentence, and I'm going to finish.
Because I think you're mistaking me right now, bro, because you didn't ask me about Christian theology. You asked me about exegesis and hermeneutics.
Yeah,
I think theology, are you saying all Christian theology relies on those two subjects?
No, I do not.
All right,
That's
okay.
not what I'm saying at
So
all.
so you can't say I don't understand Christian theology.
All right, well, then you tell
I don't know.
What's the basis of Christian theology?
Jesus Jesus basically.
No,
he's the entire
no,
theology.
what's the idea? Yeah, what's the idea? What's
the idea is
of
that Jesus is the Son of God and rose from the dead and died for the sins of mankind.
Yeah. Okay. So no.
That's not Christian theology.
No, it is not. That is the gospel.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Nah, we ain't doing that. That's literally all Christianity is based on. That's all it's based on. If once you bring up the 10 Commandments, they'll tell you that doesn't matter. Christianity is all about Jesus rising from the dead. Nah, bro. We're not doing that. We're not doing that. All right, guys. I have a few more people here. Alec, we had you yesterday. You did come back, and we also have Nova. Nova, I'm gonna get to you likely right after Alec. Let's go ahead and talk to Alec first. Alec, how's it going? Are you actually? Yeah, that's my sign. That's my sign. Y'all see her back there. All right. How's it going, Alec? What do you want to talk about today?
It's going good, brother Volcy. I'm sorry you run into some theists that are kind of argumentative and not willing to come to an understanding. I apologize on their behalf for that.
Yeah, that's all good.
If you would like, we have some prophecies in my faith that are pretty specific. If you would like to look at them, because they're fulfilled unless you kind of run around. I think you have to actually be vague to make these not fulfilled. If you're interested in looking at them,
I haven't researched Mormonism at all to even take a stab at it. Yeah, I mean, so I would have to look into it. So I'm not
Sure.
I'm 100% not sure about it. Yeah, I mean, I do bring up Mormonism sometimes to tell people that people saying something is true doesn't actually make it true, because like Joseph Smith had people who signed saying that they saw some sort of miracles or he read the tablets, right? But I've always said that them doing that doesn't necessarily make it true. They might have believed it, but them believing it doesn't make it true. We need something more than that.
Right. No, I totally agree with you. Yeah. But would you be okay me reading that one of these prophecies for you?
All right, what about it?
I could read you one, because I remember you were talking and you said like a lot of the prophecies are vague, and I actually agree with you that a lot of these things you can interpret them as being fulfilled, but they're not really kind of like down pat. But we do have one that's in 1800s English about the Civil War and World Wars. If that's okay, do you want me to read that?
Like there was a prophecy in Mormonism about the Civil War.
Yeah, very specifically where it would happen and what over.
I mean, the Civil War was something that was already going to start, right? Because of like once Bleeding Kansas happened, I think everybody understood that a civil war will start. So sure. It's what is a prophecy, as a matter of fact? What does it say?
So the cool part is it specifies between what states it would occur at. So this is,
I mean, yeah, that was something that was already known, to tell you the truth. Like people around that time, they can tell a civil war was going to happen. They
yeah, but no, I give you that. But he actually specified which states it would occur between, where it would start.
Yeah, between like the North and the South.
No, he specified it's North and South Carolina, which is where it started, and he did this before it happened.
Oh, like North and South Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what's the theology? I'm sorry, not the theology. What's the prophecy?
So the debate. So the date here. This is chapter 87 of what we call the Doctrine and Covenants. This is not the Book of Mormon. It's not the Bible. It's like extra answers that we believe Joseph Smith received from the Lord. But this, like I said, is chapter 87, and this revelation was received in December 25th, 1832, before the Civil War in Kirtland, Ohio. And it just says here, Verily, thus saith the Lord, concerning the wars that will shortly come to pass, beginning at the rebellion of South Carolina, which will eventually terminate in the death and misery of many souls. And we know that this Civil War is the bloodiest in American history. And the time will come that war will be poured out upon all nations, beginning at this place. So that's prophecy of the World War. I don't think there was even any concept of world wars at that point. For behold, the southern states shall be divided against northern states will call on other nations, even on the nation of Britain. So that's kind of, and then it says war will be poured out upon all nations. Yeah, the rest is kind of just description, but the really defining point is that it starts at South Carolina, which occurred.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing though. Around that time, was South Carolina already threatening to leave the Union?
I don't know.
They
Maybe.
were. No,
Okay.
that's the thing. They were. So him making that prophecy, right? It's basically him kind of predicting what was going to happen because they were already threatening to leave the Union. But like, if he made a very, very educated guess, that's awesome. Yeah, I mean, the only question would be, well, he also said in that prophecy that a world war would happen, which kind of didn't happen. It happened like maybe like 2 centuries later, didn't it?
So it said beginning at this place, war will be, so it's future. Beginning at this place, war will be poured out upon all nations, and that did occur. It didn't specify like a year after, a month after.
Yeah, exactly. So that's exactly that's the problem because a world war didn't start from North Carolina, it started in Austria-Hungary, right? So it's that's the thing that I would say. But
okay. I can get that. That's reasonable. That's reasonable.
Oh, good. Alec, let me do this though. I do want to go ahead and talk to Noah because I gotta get out of here. You mind come back another day?
Of course, no problem, dude.
Yeah, appreciate you. No problem.
See you later.
See you. All right, gotta get to Nova. Nova, you're gonna be my last person for tonight. Once again, guys, Nova, give me one moment. All right, give me a second.
No worries, man.
All right, guys. I do thank y'all for being up here. Joker had to drop. I do thank you, Joker, for being up here. I do thank everybody else for being part of this conversation. If you're watching me from the Black Atheist Coalition, go ahead and tap that screen. Thank y'all so much for being here. Make sure you subscribe. Thank you all so much for being here. If you're watching me from Volcy Thoughts, thank you so much. The link to join is pinned. Y'all are wonderful. Thank y'all so much for being here. And over on Deconstruction Junction, I appreciate y'all for being there too. Thank y'all so much. The gift goal is still up over on the Volcy Thoughts. Y'all are amazing. We're gonna go ahead and move on to our last person for the night. Nova, how's it going? Are you at least 18? And do you think you give us a good reason to believe in a God?
So I am over 18. However, I am atheist, so I don't believe in gods or anything like that. I just wanted to come up here and say that I think what you're doing is good. Challenging people's beliefs, I think, is also very important, even though if they don't agree with you. That last guy that you had on before the previous guy was such an uneducated idiot. He was actually just spewing nonsense.
Well, what are you talking about? The one before Alec?
Yeah, the one before Alec. Oh my God, dude, that guy was such an idiot.
Yeah, it was a lot. And the thing is, when it comes to things like hermeneutics and exegesis, I can't really explain what those things mean, right? But it's all about, can we actually show these things to be true? We just can't go off of, these prophecies seem really crap. I got restricted. That sucks. I got restricted, y'all, but that's fine. I'm about to leave anyway. Y'all. So that's why I got restricted. I think Nova calling him an idiot was what restricted me.
Ah, shit, my bad, bro.
No, all good. I'm about to get off anyway, so you good. I'm about to get off anyway, so you good. But hey, Nova, I really do appreciate your support. Still subscribe. What I'm gonna do one of these days is I'm also gonna have a panel over on the YouTube side as well. So more people can come in, and we'll have more of a conversation then. How's that sound?
That sounds awesome, man. I'd be more than glad to talk to these people about their belief system, man.
Yeah, definitely, man. Tomorrow, what's tomorrow? Sunday? Yeah, tomorrow is Sunday, so it's more gonna be we're targeting the Black Christians. Me and Black Atheist Rants, we're gonna be targeting the Black Christians and the Black Muslims. But you can go ahead and stop on by, like the live, and send any gifts that you like. All right, appreciate you.
Sounds good, man. Thank you.
Not a problem. You have a good one.
You as well, man. Peace.
All right, guys, I am gonna go ahead and get out of here. Thank y'all so much for being here. Thank y'all everyone who supported me. Y'all see wifey dancing in the background. That's because she cooked something and she's waiting for me to get something to eat. Baby, what you cook, baby? Maybe cook some salmon today. All right. So my wifey cooked salmon today. I'm about to go ahead and get me some nice Sammy Sam, and we're gonna get out of here. All right. So if you watch me on the Deconstruction Junction, I appreciate y'all for being here. Big one on those numbers. Thank y'all so much. Do love y'all. Do appreciate y'all. Thank y'all so much. I remember to subscribe. Remember to give some gifts. If you watch me over on the Black Atheist Coalition, remember to subscribe to the Black Atheist Coalition. Remember to sign up for the Black Atheist, Agnostic, Skeptics, and Humanists Cookout, which is coming. I should get a t-shirt for that maybe next week. And if you watch me over on Volcy Thoughts, as always, thank y'all so much for being here. Y'all are wonderful. We're gonna go ahead and end the stream now. Once again, for everybody here to sorry, I'm tired and hungry. Once again, for everybody, I just remind you all to be soft, be secure, be affectionate, be wise.